It's a blue morning show where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so low. Everything's about Chelsea, feel like pride. We repping our team, standing side by side. Win or lose, we carry that blue. Cause Chelsea, sleep Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. In the stands we jump and sway, feel the beat. Got that rhythm in our hearts, can't take defeat. Every match we rise, watch the game unfold. Blue blood running deep, our story told. With every win we celebrate our crew. Chanting songs for Chelsea all day, it's true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no one. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. Stop the banners fly high under the sun. Every player on that field, together we run. With each kick we feel the passion ignite. For Chelsea our hearts shine forever bright. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. It's a blue morning show where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so low. Everything's about Chelsea, feel like pride. We repping our team, standing side by side. Win or lose, we carry that blue. Cause Chelsea, sleep Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. In the stands we jump and sway, feel the beat. Got that rhythm in our hearts, can't take defeat. Every match we rise, watch the game unfold. Blue blood running deep, our story told. With every win we celebrate our crew. Chanting songs for Chelsea all day, it's true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no one. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. Stop the banners fly high under the sun. Every player on that field, together we run. With each kick we feel the passion ignite. For Chelsea our hearts shine forever bright. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. It's a blue morning show where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so low. Everything's about Chelsea, feel like pride. We repping our team, standing side by side. Win or lose, we carry that blue. Cause Chelsea, sleep Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. the stands we jump and sway, feel the beat. Got that rhythm in our hearts, can't take defeat. Every match we rise, watch the game unfold. Blue blood running deep, our story told. With every win we...
Yes, good people, big up to all of you. Welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back for another edition of the Blue Morning Show. I do hope you all are doing well. A good win for us. Finally, the December curse, dead and buried. Listen, if we're being truthful here, going into this game, a lot of people were concerned. Everyone was busy talking about the December curse, the injuries, the noise, but uh, it was a glorious day, a good performance, professional performance. It didn't look like we were gonna lose, even though some of the players still looked used or tired, if that's the language, if you prefer a more formal language there. But it was a very, very good performance. We could have scored a lot more than two, but I'll take the two, a win. The manager handled it well, and at the same time, we were attacking, but if you paid attention, we played with a very cautious approach. 2-0 against a very, very, an informed Everton side. They've been scoring goals, winning games, and in their last 5 games, they average around, let's say around 1.8 or so, but their average goal per 90 minutes before that game was way better than ours. But it wasn't just the result, it was the control, no panic at the back. Wesley Fofana and Chalobah looking like the best centre back pairing in a while at Chelsea, really. They look like a brick wall. And going forward, we finally, you could argue, good reading there, but Dean did not put the chances away. And Gusto did his thing to prove a lot of people wrong. It's a matter of understanding how the manager utilized him. But the truth remains, the Gusto conversation will still emerge again when we lose a game, and he applies himself on the pitch in that manner. But Malo Gusto, he stepped up, created a delicious goal, a fine, beautifully weighted pass to Cole Palmer, who took it. Yeah, even I'm quite sure a lot of you've seen screenshots of Kukurea celebrating even before Cole Palmer kicked the ball into the back of the net. Cole Palmer did what Cole Palmer does, of course, and that experiment with Reece James in the midfield, something that a lot of people aren't talking about that much of late. I think it was a very, very good performance. If you're relieved to see a clean sheet and 3 points in December, please take a second, drop a like on that video, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Sincerely do appreciate you all as we get closer and closer to 30K subscribers. Where are we right now? We are at 28,747. That's not easy. We're getting closer and closer to that milestone. And I think maybe we'll do something about it. But remember, join our website, www.chelseaperspective.com. Sign up for the web app, or you can say request access. When you get access, always predict games, also participate in player ratings, quizzes, a lot of fun stuff to do. So you get a chance to win a customized Chelsea shirt with your name at the back. A lot of fun. So I'm happy. The manager he's very smart. And once again, if you paid attention to the game, we employed a very cautious approach, but at the same time attacking. And Everton looks like they were confident they were going to beat us. You could argue that also helped to a certain measure. Gusto back, according to Nemanja Fowler, aka Cole Palmer FC. Always nice to see you. What else do we have here? Palmer back, and I have my sister here. And once again, Chichi, as Enugu girls would say that time in Enugu, Neke one. But Chichi, I appreciate you finding the time to join. I do hope you're doing well. What do we have here? Udo, I appreciate you, my sister. Thank you for joining. Without wasting much of your time, we get into the conversation proper. Not conversation because this will be a mashup of Chelsea news and Chelsea news. When I say Chelsea news, it's not like there are a lot of stuff out there to address, but we go news hunting. That's what we call it. We go out there, search for, but you see a lot of commentaries anyway, a lot of commentaries a lot of, you could say, stuff out there. Let's see what else we have here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. Big up, everyone. Big up to you too, today. Big up to you, my brother. I do hope you're doing up the chest. And my Australian bro, my Aussie bro in Paxi 123. We're planning a very special collaboration. I and Paxi, a good football content creator. Yeah. Big up, what's up, my bro? We here for the celebrations. Let's go! Finally, we've broken the December curse. A lot of people were concerned. Even I was concerned also. But yeah, once the game started, I started singing. Wow, what I saw gave me the feeling. I felt like, yeah, we're actually winning this one. But I'm happy. The manager he's a very smart man. And you could argue the one of the main reasons why we approached the game the way we did against Bournemouth was, yeah, he didn't want things to get worse. Remember, I said we're going to see a lot more cautious approach. Why? Because yeah, he knew already. I don't need to educate him on that. Once you lose a single game, losing the second one is easy. If you lose the second one, losing the third one is a lot more easier. The more you lose, the more it becomes a lot more easier to lose. That's when a low confidence sets in, and when that happens, it's usually pretty much difficult to solve that. But people, if you haven't, please go and check out my brother's YouTube channel, Paxi. Um, um, be sure to subscribe. Let's help him to continue to grow. And if I remember, I will add his channel as one of the recommended channels at the bottom of our Chelsea Perspectives homepage. A good guy and a good content creator. Likes to say it as it is. Doesn't run an echo chamber like a lot of the content creators do. That's one of the reasons why I love him. All right, more likes, people. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Yes, we still do beg for likes because we're not a big account yet. The more likes we garner, the more YouTube algorithm will be triggered and be forced to push the stream to more people who'd be interested in the topics we have lined up. And yeah, we have a total of 37 people following the show, only 8 on YouTube. The rest is shared between X and Facebook, where equally Coachella doesn't know. But yeah, more likes. Let's see. And who else do we have here? Rich money makers. Great win. The coach was having a go at the stupid SDs. I told you, and Constantine Dante, best friends, the SDs are not it. I don't think he was, but you have every right to interpret it the way you did. Yeah, and if you put a comment and you call them, I'm gonna skip it. I'm not into name calling. So if you do name calling in your, again, if I fans as such in your comment or your contribution in the live chat, I'm not gonna read it. You already know that. But let's go, people. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes do go a long way. I will check out the channel. Go check it out. I've made him a moderator. That way he'd be able to share the link to his YouTube channel so people can go check it out. The Estes needs to help our coach. Who told you that you? I'm not gonna. Don't. Can you please switch topics? Let's talk about the game. You cannot be coming here and complaining about them all the time. I'm gonna get tired of it. I'm obliged, as in given the way we operate here, to read your comment, not by force though, in all honesty, but I will read it. But you just can't be doing SDs all the time. Honestly, how do you know they threw him under the bus intentionally? I told you the SDs are getting involved with asking him to play certain players. I don't think so. The coach has told them he will not play him if he doesn't trust him. I don't think so. This is just what you conclude of what he said or how you interpret what he said. I don't think that they can force him to tell it to play certain players. I think from what I've seen, he's the sort of individual that if you do that, he'd leave. After all, his policy, his resume. Yeah, he's even just winning the Conference League and the Club World Cup and taking us to top 4. That's enough for him to get another job like this. And let's be honest here, irrespective of whether I think the SDs are bad or not, I think we've talked about them or not, and I don't think they're bad. But here's where usually what concerns me, the way people talk about as if they control him. You cannot. If you want to know, listen to how he dealt with the situation he had to face in Italy earlier on in his coaching career. And right now, the truth remains there are clubs waiting for Chelsea to pull the trigger, and they will happily hire him, give him a more experienced squad, and also pay him a lot more. If you don't know, and I've said this, will he leave? Eventually, he will, and I think he will leave on his terms. I think if he gets the opportunity to coach another club, that be willing to pay the club what they're asking, because yeah, he's on a long-term contract at Chelsea, he'd take it. So, but my point, I don't want to go to that extent. What the point I'm trying to make, he's not the sort of individual you're able to control like you're probably making it out to be. But that's just my opinion. You have every right to see it the way you say it. But cook the SDs. But please, I'm the one that reads it. You can come onto the panel and cook them every 5 minutes at the start of the shows. Good, you get the opportunity. But I cannot be reading your stuff every day, and it's you complaining about the SDs. Come on, bro. I love you. I'm not saying you're lying. You have every right to see the situation the way you deem fit. Honestly. Let's see. All right, let's see what else we have here. Coach, I am taking a lot of trusted sources. I'm not saying, I'm not doubting your sources. I'm just saying it's not fair to me that every time I see your comment, it be about the SDs. I get tired of it. You can come onto the panel if you want. You know I love you. We're not fighting. Our coach wanted more say in the recruitment. How do you know he didn't have a lot of say? He's told us publicly that that if we sign something to the effect of every player we sign, he's had a hand in it. But of course, if we had a little bit of issue, people will start complaining because they see certain players not good enough for the club. He wanted to win the league, yeah, and because LCs don't want him to win the league. Okay, I'm not saying you're lying. Yeah, no, I don't agree. It's fact because you don't work for the club. One thing I would say is that you're entitled to your opinion. I am entitled to your opinion, but I cannot take your opinion as fact. Also, you do have every right to tell me your opinions are facts, but I do have the right to say they're not. I don't trust them. That's their point. You don't trust them. We have a good coach. I want him to stay. I think the club wants him to stay too, and I don't think they're fighting. I think they're on the same page, in all honesty. And I'm going to say this again, especially after winning uh, the Conference League and the Club World Cup, his policies, his resume, and if you try to toy around with him, I think he'd leave. And the SDs know that. It's really as simple as that. But I'm going to stop with that right now. And I have on the panel here, Constantine Dunn. Big up to you, and also Jay, both in the house. I do hope you guys are doing well. I appreciate you all finding the time to join me on the panel. Yeah, a good day to be a Chelsea fan. What a win. It didn't even look close. Controlled performance, professional performance. I'm not sure what other way to put it, but I'm happy we won. Yeah, Jay, your thoughts. What do you make of the win?
Big up, coach. Big up, Dante, and the chat. Um, Great victory. I think a solid victory, and most importantly, 3 points, which we were desperate. I think it was important to break the streak of winless and draws and losses, and I think it was very important. I was tensed. We all were tensed. Everton is no
I think you were missing
child's.
something. The December curse.
Yeah, Everton is no child's play. They are a really good team, really strong on duels, and they showed they were higher on winning duels than us, but we managed the game really well, and it was a really pleasant victory. Nothing really negative or any sour taste in my mouth after that. I was very happy, and especially the clean sheet. That was very important. That's what we need to do. So yeah, I'm very pleased. The importance of this victory was very crucial, and we might see in the coming matches how this can hopefully turn things around.
I hope. I think it changes a lot in terms of the confidence of the players. It changes a lot. And here's the thing: something I heard that we didn't get to talk about yesterday, maybe because I forgot. Or so we heard there were some reports circulating that Reece James called a meeting. The players themselves were questioning why they're not able to beat certain teams that you can say fans expect them to beat. comfortably, and I think that's good to see. It simply means they're not. You could say they're not just looking up to the manager alone, waiting for him to, you could say, wave the wand and solve the problem. Then they realize that, yeah, they are mainly the reason that has been the case. It has to do with their mentality, in my opinion, not respecting certain teams, or maybe because certain teams have lost 99 games and will be their 100 attempts to win one. They go into the game with the mindset, yeah, we've won this already. Is it Leeds? They've been losing all their games. We're definitely winning this one. So, but my point is, good to hear that, yeah, that they called a meeting and had a conversation. The manager would do his part, but you guys will go onto the pitch and, yeah, play like you want to win. I don't know your thoughts on that report. Did we lose Jay? All right, Jay, looks like we lost you. We'll come back to you. I'm not sure if you're speaking and I cannot hear you. But Dante, the win, an important win, controlled performance. It didn't even look close. They had some good opportunities too, I must say. One against the woodwork from Jaye. But yeah, we had good chances too. Gennacho, I get people are having a go at him. Had he been more clinical in front of goal, that'd be one of his outings for Chelsea. But of course, when you miss chances such as the one he missed, people usually don't pay attention to how well you did. The fact that you were intelligent enough to, you say, um, uh, exploit areas where you get a chance to score. But your thoughts on the performance and the fact that Reece James had to call a meeting, the players had a conversation with regards us not being able to win games that people expect us to win.
Yeah, big up, coach.
Big up to
Everyone
you
in the
too.
chat. Jay, oh, looks like he's out. Yeah, look, great win, deserved win. I think we, like you said, we controlled the game very well, especially in that second half. Basically, that was their first shot on target, second half when the guy hit the post. So
Njaya, right? It was Njaya that
yeah,
hit the woodwork.
so they didn't have not one shot sort of before then. So we controlled the game. We're just seeing the game out. Maresca made a tactical sub, put another midfielder in, and we just controlled the games, pretty much saw the game out, no problems. Besides that, I mean, you're always going to give one or two chances away, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, you're not playing. You're not playing with poles. You're playing with humans.
Exactly. So you're always going to give a couple, but I think that was very, very well done how we controlled that game in the second half, all the way up to that since they hit the woodwork. So, yeah, look, great win. Can't say too much about the win. About the meeting, that's what players do. That's what a captain does. That's what leadership does. This is what they need to do when you're on a bad form. You get the boys together. You have
Because
a chat.
there's only so much the manager can do.
Well, this is, yeah, it's good to hear. And that's what you want from your captain, Reece James. We didn't really hear him doing that in the past. And that was a criticism of him being a captain. Is he really a captain, or is just kind of got given the captaincy, you know? So I think Maresca did call him out on that a couple of times, and he's definitely improved and stepped up as he's matured. So that's good to see. So that's exactly what he needs to do. It's not just on the manager, on the assistants, on everyone else. It's on the players as well, obviously. So you get together, speak, talk it out, have your views, see if there are any problems, and then if there is, you work it out and find the solution. And that's exactly what they did. So you got to commend Reece James for that, Maresca, and yeah, the whole team played very well. So it definitely worked.
I was going to ask this question. I'll still go back to Jay, hear his thoughts on the meeting. But the question I want to ask you now, Dante, is did Everton play differently? They played like they were there to win. They probably believed they were going to beat us. I'm sure they are well acquainted with our struggles during December period, and we were in a poor run of form. Maybe they came into the game with the mindset that, yeah, we can actually beat them because they're struggling. They've looked nervous of late, and maybe they didn't play like they do usually. Not a lot of long balls. Or did we? Or is it a case of us, you could say, approaching the game in a manner that didn't allow them the independence to play the way they usually play?
Yeah, definitely the more second latter one. The setup was good. The tactics were good. Even that first half, we started strong. Basically, to the last 15 minutes, we were, pretty good, pretty comfortable, creating chances. Then the last 15 minutes, they started attacking. And that was probably the only sort of time in the game where they had a bit of ascendancy in that last 15 minutes. And then we scored right at the end of the first half. So, and that kind of killed it for the second half. So, yeah, look, no, they played how they usually play. It's just we didn't let them play that way. Like I said, these teams, they're trying to play a little bit different this season, and it's worked for them because they have more technical players. The back, sorry, the three across the midfield, in the attacking phase, they have creative players, very good players. But if you don't let them play their game, well, then no. And we struggle. That's why we struggled the last 10, 15 minutes because we let them play their game. We kind of sat back. I think we were a bit fatigued. I think we were a bit tired because we weren't pretty
The
good.
tiredness, did show towards the end of the game.
Yeah, even the end of the game, the last 10 minutes, and then the last 15 minutes of the first half, both of it, you saw the fatigue. The players just sat back. They just couldn't do it anymore. So there was a bit of fatigue there, and that's why then they were able to play their game. But the rest of the game, which was enough doing, we pretty much, outplayed them and controlled the game very, very well. So could have had obviously more goals as well, a lot more goals as well. So yeah, look, it's a bit of both, but yeah, definitely that last 15 minutes and maybe the last 5 minutes of the game when we were really fatigued, both halves. Yeah, I think that's when we let them play their game, and then when they created chances. But that was enough. It wasn't enough for them.
All right, I'm going to catch up what you have in the chat, and I'll come back to Jay to hear his opinion on the meeting and also whether he thinks Everton tried to do something different, leading to us beating them, or was it really down to us, our approach that led to them not being able to play the way they usually play. Poch was sacked because he talked a lot, and Enzo Maresca should know that, however, he was doing the same thing at Leicester City when they were failing. I haven't seen anything that he said that I see as him having a go at as the SDs. I think it's a matter of interpretation, and he's a very honest person. If you've been paying attention to how he takes responsibility when he makes mistakes, yeah, I remember is him saying the last 48 hours the most blah 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 because people didn't believe in the squad. I think mainly he's referencing the fans. Maybe there's something else he said that I didn't hear, but I'm not concerned. I don't think he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. I don't think he's stupid enough to start having a go at his employers. Even if he does, yeah, but let's see. I don't think he did. But people are open to interpreting things the way they think fit. But let's see. Good win with Brighton losing. We need to start putting a gap between some teams. I think it will happen. Let's see. Yes, Reece James, Pedro Neto, Mark Cucurella, they were brilliant, even though Cucurella still looked a bit tired, but yeah, he did good. Hopefully, from now on, we can kick on the right in the right direction. I think we can. Patsy, nice to see you once again, my bro. And I've made you a moderator, which will allow you to share the link to your YouTube channel so people can go check it out. But keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. We have 9 likes. We can do a lot better than that. Let's get the likes up. If you haven't, take a second, drop a like on the stream. And also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I repeat, Reece James, Marco Correa, Pedro Neto, Robert Sanchez lead us in the dressing room. Yeah, Sanchez have seen things that indicate, yeah, he's matured to a good leader. And I like that. Not just him, but yeah, all of them. You can say even Trevor Chalobah. Did you mention Trevor Chalobah too? Trevor Chalobah, he's become a leader too. Malo Gusto, the best game he's had. Even games where he didn't score goals or maybe create chances. If you understand how the manager utilizes them, the primary purpose, that is why he applies himself the way he does on the pitch under Enzo Maresca. Even if he doesn't score a goal or make a few mistakes, you'd still appreciate him. But unfortunately, we've always known here that because people don't know how the manager utilizes him, they will always complain when things don't go our way. But when things go our way, they don't pay attention. When things do go our way, so to speak, they don't, you can say, give him credit for how he applied himself in that particular game or how well he played. He was one of the main reasons why we beat PSG. He got 1 assist. Our first goal was him. Yeah, and how he popped up in places, ensuring that we will almost always have numerical advantage over PSG on the day. He did that quite a lot. And tracking back, overloading areas, the primary reasons why Maresca utilizes him like that, he does those things perfectly. But unfortunately for him, if he doesn't score a goal or create a chance, or if we lose a game, people start, you can say, picking at him for shooting, orchestrating the sort of shot that the rugby union would be proud of, and all that nonsense. Had we lost that game yesterday, people would still be complaining. Why is it popping up in the number 10 position and all that? Maybe I'm not sure how else to try to educate people to understand that it's important to understand the primary reasons why he applies himself on the pitch the way he does under Enzo Maresca when he doesn't play as a traditional fullback. But unfortunately, even some of the biggest content creators behave like they don't know, they don't understand that, or maybe they don't really understand, or maybe they know, they just want to say something, tell people what they want to hear to get more clicks. But that's, by the way, we move on from that. Let's see, I agree, because as much as coach can have tactics, players still need to perform on the pitch. Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. They have to go into the game with the mentality they're playing against another 11 that's capable of beating them, and not because they and not going to games with the mindset, yeah, they've lost 20 games, we're gonna make it 21. Yeah, Enzo needs a rest. It looks slow. He does need a rest, but I think he'd have a few days now to rest. More like a 6 day rest or so. But let's be honest, Everton missed sitters. But go look at the numbers. You understand for me, a deserved win for us. I'm still not happy with some chances we gave. We let them create. Again, we're not playing with poles. It does happen, but I don't think we didn't give them too many chances. And like Dante mentioned, towards the end of the game, the tiredness started setting in, and yeah, our defense was horrible. Luckily, Sanchez had a good game. I don't think our defense was. I don't think so, but yeah, maybe they were, and I didn't see it. Maybe I haven't rewatched it. Maybe when I rewatch it, I'll find that out myself. But nice to see you, Mike and New. I love Chelsea, but I believe in our coach. The owners, please sign up Marco Correa, Reece James, Malo Gusto, even Robert Sanchez, because Pendas I don't want. Here's the thing, Marco Correa, he signed a new contract. Maybe they will extend the length of the contract. Maybe. Reece James will sign another one, definitely. We've heard something to the effect of the club considering offering him, or maybe they're on the verge of offering him a new contract. Malo Gusto, we've heard his case too. Robert Sanchez, maybe later on. There's still a long way to go. Big up to you too, Mike and Nim. Nice to see you. Says, I think they did want to compete, but we offered more quality. Yeah, they looked like they were there to beat us. They won. They didn't play their usual way, which you could argue. I want to watch the game again to be sure. They maybe it could be down to us playing in a manner that didn't allow them to the spaces to operate the way they usually do. That match was another poor performance, in your opinion. Yeah, go with it. Enzo Fernandez out, Kobe might not in. Okay, let's see if it happens. Arsenal will not be winning the league. More pressure starting to get to them. Heston, they might still end up winning the league because other teams have a lot of, you can say, um, transition. You can say other situations to deal with, or are going through a transitional period. But after the Sunderland game, I did say, yeah, I don't think they're all that. But that doesn't mean they're definitely not winning it. They could still win it. I mean, it's still early days. Nkrumah Muda says Gusto always had elite attacking movement. His only issue is that, yeah, the final product. He finished his chances like Chelsea's team of run. But yeah, I've always known that eventually he will march on to the role. He scored his first goal and scored another one. Now, how many goals in total? You could argue three, but let's just go with two. I'm not too sure. I don't want to gaslight you. Up big to you too, Ty. Nice to see you. I do hope you're doing well. I will reach out soon to know how the second part of the process went. But thank you for joining the conversation. Marquinhos says Gusto had great passes, looked better than Enzo Fernandez in the midfield. And why do you, even if you see it that way, why do you think that was the case? I think the behavior of just when our players go through a patch of poor form, we start saying that they're not good enough. I don't think that's okay, really. I think we should know that good form isn't permanent because they're humans. Even the best of players do go through a period of time where they struggle. It's really that simple, but that's my opinion anyway. Big up Kuchila Dante J. Okay, good morning. I'm happy that Chelsea won against Everton, even though I didn't watch the game because I was busy. Because you were scared we were gonna lose. That's probably the reason why you didn't watch it. But that's by the way, Jay. I'm gonna come back to you. Jay, before Jay starts to speak, if today is your birthday, your friend's birthday, your mom's birthday, a family member's birthday, your siblings, let us know so we can pop some balloons for them and celebrate them. It's Christmas period, so we don't do that for only for paid members only. We do it for all our community members. But Jay, let's say the meeting aspect. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think I'll agree with Dante. Everything he said is correct. I think it's important. It's really important. These type of things. We mocked Arsenal for it, but we have seen that yeah, they bottled the league in the end. They have been doing it for few years now. But I think the camaraderie and the environment among those 11 players, even at Arsenal, that looks good. And one thing that I've noticed is the team meeting thing that regularly happens there, and it's good to see similar things happening at Chelsea. I think Reece James taking the initiative is really important as well because we know he's our captain. He has been given that right from the levels of academy. So I think it's important for him to take such steps, and I think he is improving as well. As Dante mentioned, Maresca has called him out and asked him to improve this aspect of his personality, and he's doing good. And I think it matters, especially when you're tired and you're fatigued and your body is not really, giving you 100%. I think in such situations, in such scenarios, it's your mentality and such motivational stuff that carry you through tough situations, and that could be one of the elements that we didn't really concede a goal yesterday, and it was a good performance. So I do give value to such non-tangible aspects of the game. It's important.
Yeah, let's see. Can we talk about this quickly before we move on? Something else I had in mind I wanted to ask you. Let's start with you, Jay. Markham Newman saying Enzo Fernandez isn't a form issue. He's just a La Liga material. I've always said that. No, that is just your opinion. That is just
Yeah.
your opinion. We're talking about Enzo Fernandez that has, you can say, he's quicker than Fabregas in his prime. He's more physical than Fabregas in his prime. What you cannot say at the moment that he measures Fabregas is his passing range, which you could argue is down to how he's utilized. But he does have good vision too. So I think it's just this is the narrative. The narrative I'd have to say it has, you can say, it refused to go away. It's since the sale of Conor Gallagher, because people wanted him gone at the time instead of Conor Gallagher. But I think I don't want to say something that anybody will feel like I'm insulting their football knowledge. I think it's down to lack of understanding of its importance. And maybe you should go look at the numbers. Maybe the numbers will help you learn how his importance to the team. He's the sort of player that's actually, if he isn't playing, we do struggle. Yeah. You remember when Maresca had to drop him to introduce the pairing of Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia, because at the time we were scoring a lot of goals, but at the same time we were conceding a lot of goals. He wanted to start solving the issue by ensuring we start defending in the midfield area, which meant Enzo Fernandez had to make way for a few games because, yeah, defensively he's not the best, but that doesn't mean he doesn't contribute defensively. That I don't know. Let's hear your thoughts on this narrative that he's a La Liga type of player, that the Premier League isn't for him.
Yeah, well, he's kind of proved that already last season that he's not 25 GA. I mean, that's very impressive numbers. So, and that was, even if you take that away, he still played really. People saying that's what was missing in his game: assists and goals. Well, last season, that even earlier this season, he piled those stats on for people as well, so that he put that to his game as well, and that's down to him and Maresca, the way he was utilizing him as well. So yeah, you're right. He's got all the skills, the vision to play that deep lying playmaker, no problem. He can do that role, but we don't need him to do that role because we have other players in that position. He's more utilized, and it's better for the team, in the position Maresca's playing him at the moment. Now that can change in the future. We don't know, but for now, it's worked. Last season was a great example of that. Even the start of this season was a great example of that. Now, like I said, people always seem to have a very short memory when it comes to these things. They look at the last couple of weeks only, and yeah, you can't judge on that. 2 weeks, players they're human. They have bad form. They're tired, stuff off field, all sorts of things. So they're not going to be perfect. You can't expect him to keep doing that, and every single week, because it's unrealistic, especially in the Premier League. You can't do that in the Premier League. That's just not going to happen. There's too many good teams. The intensity is high. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, look, I agree with what you said, Coach. Exactly. Yeah, he can do that job, but he's not asked to do that job because we do have Caicedo there. He doesn't need to play that role. We needed more goals and assists from him, especially with Cole Palmer, out and stuff. We needed him to play a little bit differently. So I think he's done everything really well, and he's one of our most important players, and probably one of Maresca's most important, trusted players. That he talks to him a lot on the field, a bit like his general. He gets all the message across to the players what they need to do as well. So yeah, he's very important.
And here's the new Mikey New. Can you take a step back, take a time, find all the biggest games we've played under Enzo Maresca, the PSG game, the Arsenal game, the Liverpool win, all those big games. Look how he did in those games. Yeah.
If
Just
he's
take
saying
it back.
look, if you do put him in the he'll probably be even better, because there he will get that time. But really, you see him doing in the Premier League, that should tell you, a lot already.
Yeah,
Like I said
exactly.
last season,
Yeah.
amazing season.
But I don't want to start fighting with Mike and Neil. It's not a fight, really. Forget the language I use. We use that language here. I want you to go home whenever you have time. Find all the biggest games we've played under Maresca, from PSG, Liverpool, Arsenal, all those games. Look at them and see how he did in all of them. You can argue he turns up. We're at our best whenever he turns up. And if you remember, here's the thing: you don't necessarily be the chance creator to be important to a team. Even though he's a fine creator on his day, everything comes down to how the manager utilizes him. He's that sort of player that, if you ask me, but Enzo Maresca has decided to use him in a different manner, that the more he sees the pitch, the more effective it be, because his strongest tool is his vision. But he can do other things very well. This guy is an excellent player.
We saw that
If you
yesterday.
remember,
A lot of the switches, long balls.
yeah, exactly. That goes a long way in us controlling games and even winning games in some cases. If you remember, when Maresca introduced the pairing of Lavia and Caicedo, because at the time he was trying to solve defensive issues we had. Yeah, we knew, those that understood his importance to the team at the time realized early on, even that, yeah, we were going to start scoring less and less goals, even though he wasn't scoring too many at the time. Yeah, but we knew we were going to start scoring less and less goals, but we'll concede less, which is important at the time. The manager solved the problem, and he's found a way to still use them and still, again, we play in a manner that we're not going to concede a lot of goals. And that is down to, you could say, him being on the same wavelength with a lot of his teammates, and the manager understanding how to conduit or maybe mask his deficiencies, which is and he's not the worst in terms of defensive contributions. He's not. It's just that he's not a DM, and people expect him to be operating like a DM. If anything, he's more of a register than a DM. Could you like today's right? No, I'm not celebrating Rafinha's birthday. Just go away from me. Enzo Fernandez would thrive in La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga. Those four leagues would be good for him. And has he not done well in the Premier League? That's the question I want to ask you. And he's actually remember even when he played with I think a Hainia or so, he was still one of our best players. Enzo couldn't list. Here's the thing. I'm just telling you something. One thing Fabregas has over him is again his assist. His, you can say, you could argue his ability to split defenders, the defensive line open. And I believe Enzo Fernandez is capable of reaching that level. But let's just off the bat, he's quicker than Fabregas, more physical than Fabregas. What else here? More defensively. If we can, in terms of defensive aspect of the game, he can do that better than Fabregas. Yeah. The only thing I can say Fabregas has over him vision, and he has excellent vision too. But that's not to say he'd finish his career in the he can. It depends on how he's utilized. He can actually reach that level. I didn't say he was better than Fabregas, but these are the things off the bat that he's better than Fabregas. More physical, quicker than Fabregas, defensively solid than Fabregas. Those three things. Vision, yeah, I give it to Fabregas. I never said he's better than Fabregas. I'm just saying for people saying that he's not good enough for the Premier League, just like Mike and Noon. I don't know, Jay. If you want to add anything to that, you go ahead. Enzo Fernandez, yeah, let's to that comment that said, yeah, he's not good enough for Chelsea, La Liga, maybe. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I was about to. My Wi-Fi is somehow, I don't know, struggling a bit. Sorry for that. Um,
Mm.
Look, I think I was vocal in the group chat about Enzo's performance. First of all, I don't agree with this comment. I think people need to judge a performance of a particular match separately to how a player is for the club. I think Enzo is important for Maresca. I think he's important for Chelsea, and he has given us really vital moments, and he has proved us again and again why he is very key, whether you like it or not. He's very, very key to how Maresca wants to play his football. So he is important. I just want to put it out there. But then I just want to, I have this tendency to talk about individual performances, separating it from the overall player or whatever he's done for the club. I think we should, that's my tendency to look a player's performance uh, from the particular match. So I'm going to talk about it from the Everton match, and I think that was really bad. That was a really poor performance. I was vocal in the group chat as well, and I think, look, my review of the Everton match was that we played really well, and all of our players were really good, apart from one or two. I will say two, and among those two was Enzo and Garnacho. I was not happy with both of their performances. Now, is that the fault of Enzo? I don't say that. I won't really agree with that because I think it's fatigue and tiredness that is catching up to him, and that is not really his fault. He has been overplayed. He is doing greater stuff, and he has been one of those players who has been, you know, playing all the games around this season till this point, almost all the points. And he's not Moises Caicedo. We all know, we have seen it at the start of this season as well, and I think in the last season as well, that he gets fatigued really quickly, after a while, maybe midway or after the end of the season. And the recovery process for Enzo to get over that fatigue does take a little time. I think the Club World Cup uh, did did actually took a lot from him, and that is why he was struggling in the initial matches. And we were all really mentioning that he is not looking good, but we gave him that benefit of the doubt that he will come good. We all knew that he will come good, and he did came good. And I think now in this December period when there are games every now and then, I think it's again time where he needs a bit rest in matches, and then I think we will see the best of him. But that Everton performance was really bad. Now, let's not just say that it's down to his tactical or his skill set. I think it's more on Maresca's management. So yeah, that will be my analysis of him from the Everton game. But overall, I will say that he's very important to what Maresca wants from this Chelsea side.
Dante, anything else you want to add to that?
No, even yesterday, yeah, he didn't have a good game. He was probably one of the ones that didn't have the best game. His touch let him down a few times, and you can tell that's down to more fatigue because you don't really see that with him. So we've seen that the last couple of games with him getting a touch and not quite holding that first touch. Now that's just fatigue, basically, because your mind's slow to react. Hence, it's fatigue. So, uh, to me, that was pretty clear. It was quite a bit of fatigue. Now, saying that,
We
always,
didn't
if you
expect him
saw
to start. We were debating whether he starts or don't start yesterday.
yeah, and that's a risk that Maresca took. Now, there was some key moments in the game where he was instrumental in our build up to some of our attacking plays. And if you watch him closely, every single time we ran into the box, he was making a gut wrenching run from middle of this field all the way to the box, and that's he still was trying and trying to get in the box and trying to, and that actually created space for for our goals. Watch him, go look at the replays, people. He was made runs in the box. A defender had to look at him and get away from, move back centrally. They weren't able to crash across over to Gusto, etc., and Cole Palmer, because he was making runs in the box. So it still helps the way we play the system. It helps. So he still contributes in that way. Now, form, like I said, he's not been in good form. Now, I think that's down to fatigue mostly. So, yeah, that's about it, really. Every player is going to go through that. I mean, that's just normal. I mean, I could have told you that from the start of the season. Enzo Fernandez is going to have bad games. I can tell you that about every single player, basically. So it's nothing new. But yeah, I mean, even the comment on the screen, what numbers don't they go against Enzo Fernandez to his previous occupier? Well, what previous occupier is he talking about? I hope he's not talking about.
I don't have to compare him to a previous
Yeah,
occupier. I think I have to compare him to to his teammates. You can say
And
his
what he does.
importance. You
Yeah,
can say what's relevant to me is how he's applied himself whenever he's on the pitch with his teammate. I think he's been one of Chelsea's best players since he signed. That is my
yeah,
opinion.
he's been one of the consistents. Yes,
Yeah,
he's
the most consistent.
basically,
And do you think he's been that point? The manager keeps playing him even when he's tired, even when he's carrying an injury. You think Maresca is stupid to keep playing him? And once again, irrespective of how you compare, whether you choose to compare him to maybe Lampard or whoever you have in mind, just go look at the big games we played under Enzo Maresca. And we did discuss a few days ago, or maybe a week ago, how numbers don't do him justice, which highlights the importance of eye test. Because sometimes eye test will make lead you can say make you believe that a certain player was excellent on the day, but when you look at numbers you say, nah, he wasn't really.
yeah,
There
but his
was a
numbers
particular
show you
game where
differently now.
everybody believed he was excellent, but numbers say the opposite. Then there are games people will say he was shit, but numbers say he was great.
yeah.
But go
But
ahead. Yeah.
His numbers tell you now very clearly that, especially last season and even start of this season, 25 GA for a central midfielder is pretty. I mean, that's very, very high. He was the best in the league, basically. So there wasn't better in the Premier League, anyone better with numbers. So I mean,
yeah, I think even in this calendar year, he's got the most GA for Chelsea.
yeah, not just Chelsea, Jay, even the whole league, basically,
Yeah,
as in
That's a
that
good
position.
thing. He is increasing those numbers, the GA part, obviously because of how Maresca, uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
evaluate him, and he
Got him
gives
to
him
crash the
the
box
freedom
more. Yeah,
to crash box and all those things. I think he can improve his long range shots. I get irritated by them a lot. I think that's one thing that he needs to improve a lot. He gets it on target, but the power is not there in most of those shots. So that is one thing that he can improve, and then I think those numbers can actually skyrocket. But even that
exactly. Yeah,
part is not that big concern for me. So yeah, people, I understand people's thought as well. Some there is a thought, on social media that the T-line playmaker kind of role that he used to kind of operate in the early days at Chelsea, I think he has kind of vanished that, and he's turned into something else. But he's providing GA as well, which is crucial to victories. So it's not like he has redundant to nothing. I think he's still providing great things, and I think GA is the most important thing if you talk about football. Ultimately, that is all that counts.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't want to say keep debating that with people because I understand its importance. I understand uh, that fact, if it doesn't offer anything that's of great value to the manager, I don't think he'd be playing that much. And once again, my advice
Just
to you, Mark and Neum, go rewatch some of the biggest games we played under Enzo Maresca, then you will learn a lot. And he's that sort
yeah,
of player, you could say, when all the chiefs are down, he's one of those that you see him, even if he's struggling, he was still urging others on, which is the
yeah,
reason why you could say, yeah, he's a vice captain, in
You
my
don't have to go
opinion.
back far. Just go back to the Barcelona game.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it. Yeah, you have to look
He
at
was
that
good
one
in
too.
that.
Yeah, he
Just
was
want to
excellent.
just want to add, coach, that
Mhm.
I think we also sometimes don't do justice in kind of uh, in kind of defending Enzo. I think we can defend him in many ways. I don't think we need to compare him to greater legends like Fabregas or Lampard. That does provoke people and bring out a reaction that will be over the top. Because Enzo is good. He's doing a lot of good things, but I think it's really too early. I think very, very early to
Way too early.
make any comparisons with Fabregas. He is a Premier League legend, and even Lampard, he's the club legend for Chelsea as well. But Fabregas for both Arsenal and Chelsea has a very long career. So anytime that we will compare him with such legends, there will be sections of people, and kind of rightly so, will have an angry reaction to it. I think we can defend the players on our own without really making comparisons with legends, which our fan base also
Ooh,
do, like
Jay
Palmer
is
and Hazard.
plating me now.
Sorry.
But go ahead. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, bro.
No, no, I'm
You're
finished.
having a
Sorry.
go at me
Well, you
right
can't
in
compare.
my
You can't
front,
compare
but
him to
go ahead, Jay.
Frank Lampard. That's he's exactly right. I mean, completely different player. First of all, different era, different time in the Premier League. Very different era, different style of
No,
play
but
back
the
then
reason
as
I
well.
brought him up is people saying you could say that he's not good enough for the Premier League. Fabregas' example is that wasn't the quickest. You could argue one of the slowest players in the Premier League, actually.
Yeah, he
But
was.
his
Yeah.
vision, yeah, his vision is something I don't think anybody can measure till now. Start the wait. It just he operates in at the time. He was good at finding players that made good runs. And it seemed as if before you was the moment you started thinking about it, he knew.
And it
That's
helps
the
having
yeah.
it helped him having Lampard in front of him and having Drogba, having Hazard. You've got Diego Costa. You've got different type of players on the field in front of you that you know have that have a very high IQ in football wise, as in the way they make runs, the way they exploit space.
Clinical.
I mean, there is a big difference. There are different, when he joined us, we're a different time. You're expected to win Premier League challenge because you've got those star players already. Your squad was ready to go. You're already competing. You know, Enzo Fernandez came in when we starting from zero, basically with young team. It was always going to take a while and it's going to struggle. And he's been here through it all, getting better, slowly better and better. And last year was probably his best year. And he started this year very well as well, and just now fell well the last couple of weeks. And that's for me, it's excusable because of circumstances and what's been happening. So
I mean, he's
yes,
human.
it's
And
human. There's a
also,
long way to
also
go,
the
like Jay
Caicedo
said,
factor. People
comparing to
are
those
forgetting
guys.
that Caicedo is not playing besides him in all those matches, which is a big
And that's
factor.
the other thing. You
Even
don't have that defensive solidity with
yeah,
Caicedo not protecting the back line either. Like I
exactly. He
think
does give him more freedom to be himself.
correct, exactly. And it is a team game. Yes, it's a team game. So you need players. Some players excel in others. Some players excel in different defensive aspects, and that's why you got to put them all together and make sure the balance is right and they work together. Enzo works very well in that system when you have the right players around him. Cole Palmer, you have Caicedo there. You have the players that are smart, that have IQ, that will help you. So yes, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, look at Mark and Newman. He's trying to pull my legs. Here's the thing: we don't like again. You don't have to like the sort of players I like. I don't have to like the sort of players you like too.
What evidence does he have with that?
Yeah, and let me say this, and I haven't compared him to Mount. Mount is a different profile or player, in my opinion. And but even if I have to, if I have to choose, I'll pick on Enzo Fernandez over Mount anytime, any day. Even though I liked Mount, but I didn't like the trajectory. Again, the direction you say, I don't know what the correct way to phrase it. You could say at certain point it was all about his industry under Frank Lampard and what's his name? One of my favorite Chelsea managers, Thomas Tuchel. It was all about his energy. Even when he was tired, they kept playing him. They didn't do enough to help him reach the level that I believed at the time he was capable of reaching. I think we've gone past that level now. He'd become the sort of player that, yeah, mainly what he brings to the table, people see the only thing he brings to the table as mainly his industry, but he's a highly technical, gifted player that one you can say properly coached at the very early stages of his career. Only in Netherlands he was coached properly, played proper football, utilized his technical skills more often until he came back to Chelsea. It was about pressing and a lot more. He did get goals and all that. But Heston, I'll pick Enzo Fernandez over Mount anytime, any day. You could go ahead pick Mount over Ronaldo, over Messi. If he tickles your fancy, have fun, my brother. I don't care really. You should know. I agree with Dante. The man with Mula hair, I don't know. Dante, were you saying something? Sorry, and I was reading at the
No,
time.
no, that's all good. No.
Okay. Enzo is not the quickest, and that's fine. Every player will now be a cheetah. Thank you. That's actually a good one, and I like it. Every player, every player will not be a cheetah. Who who can sprint to their target. Chelsea fans and fans need to stop comparing players from the past to present. That's also at me again. I feel like crying, but I didn't really compare them. I'm just kidding anyway. Top 10 players. No, I'm not. This is some sort of distraction, but I'm going to do him or you one more time now. Can we try and keep the topics aligned? As much as I like to interact with you, please don't abuse it. Don't just throw anything you want in there and expect me to read it. It can be exhausting, really. So switching my brain from one topic to the other, that doesn't help. Top 10 players who flopped in the Premier League: Andrei Shevchenko, Radamel Falcao, aka, okay, Tegri is how I pronounce it. Angel Di Maria. Did Di Maria flop? Okay. Joan Savassin Veron, Morata didn't flop. Depay, maybe. Bastian Schweinsteiger, I think treatment, more importantly. Mourinho didn't really want him. Maicon, Boateng, Judgeway. I wouldn't say, what's his name? Morata flopped, no. I think expectations from the Chelsea fans, that's a different thing altogether, in my opinion. He didn't have better numbers. Let's see what else we have. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes do go a long way. Good morning to you too, moderator John. Nice to see you. It's been a minute. I do hope you're doing well. Let's see what Ty has to do again. 17 likes. You can do a lot better than 17 likes. And John, nice to see you back. I do hope you're doing well. Let's see. Enzo needs a solid CM players around him to be his best. Yep, because he's not, you could say, the greatest defensively. You'd have to do something to conduce, maybe mask his deficiencies, the lack of solid defensive contributions. Best players with present players. Football has changed also. Fabregas had the luxury of good midfielders. Yeah, some of the best defensive midfielders in the world actually played alongside him. Let's see. Let's see. What else do we have here? Please like and share, and don't be a ghost. Follow the host. Yep, keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. How many likes in total right now? I don't like the new interface YouTube introduced. Before you see everything, you'd have to switch where you are at the top. 18 likes. We can do a lot better than that. We still have 20 people following the show on YouTube, 70 in total. 20 on YouTube, the rest shared between X and Facebook, with that equally Coachella doesn't know. So what else? Let's look at our numbers here. Overall team numbers, who's leading what? Top stats, Pedro Neto with 5 top scorers, so to speak. Pedro Neto 5 goals in total. João Pedro 4. Enzo Fernandez 4. I'm guessing this is specific to the Premier League, isn't it? I think it is. Yeah, this is specific to the Premier League. That's why we're not seeing what's his name? The kid, the Chelsea. We're not seeing Estevao Willian there. Just think we could have had to listen until the last minute and ended up with Gennacho, who misses open goals. So Olise never ever missed goals. I think the logic with which we you could say we judge players sometimes, I don't think we're being fair. I could look at, if I know some of you that well, you could say look up your mates who are billionaires, and some of you are probably, no disrespect to anybody, but just shut up, coach. Let me just move on, because some people will not pay attention to the fact I'm just trying to make a point, and you say probably take offense. So let me not go there. So Pedro Neto top scorer 5 goals, João Pedro 4, Enzo Fernandez 4. I'm guessing this is specific to Premier League, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Disappointed Garnacho means that he's human. I think he did well. More importantly, I think you can say positives in the fact that, yeah, he popped up in the right places. Eventually, the goals will come. I've seen worse performance at Chelsea. He's a good player. We create goals, we create chances and score chances, and I think Maresca likes him. The signs are there. Zillion favor Chelsea. We go, yeah, good win for us. Let's see what else we have here. Assist Pedro Neto also 5. Wow. Well, 3, so to speak. Reece James 3, João Pedro 3. So goals plus assists 8 for Pedro Neto, João Pedro 7, Enzo Fernandez 5. Because he has how many goals? 4 goals, and I'm guessing 1 assist because there are 5. Yeah, and overall rating, we don't need that. Goals per 90 minutes. Pedro Neto 0.36, João Pedro 0.28, Enzo Fernandez 0.27. Expected goals per 90 minutes, I really don't like that, but Enzo Fernandez 6.1, João Pedro 4.4, Pedro Neto 2.9. Okay. Expected goals per 90 minutes. Okay, that's overall expected goals per 90 minutes. Mark Gui has 0.53, Enzo Fernandez 0.42, Silva 0.39. Any important thing here? Shots on target. Liam Delap 1.3, Enzo Fernandez 1.0. Nothing important here again, but if you look at the numbers, you see some of the players, because you're paying attention, there are areas where they're doing well, because I test say otherwise, you don't respect them. Enzo Fernandez, in terms of expected assists, 2.8. He just he's just below Pedro Neto, who's at 2.9. Yeah. So a lot of departments, he's one of like you say, leading names there. Accurate long balls 2.4, and that's per 90 minutes. That's him. So, but I don't want to stick with that. There are other things I want us to look at, like the game proper. But let's go news hunting. We'll come back to that. Dante, I don't know anything else you want us to talk about before we come back from news hunting and start looking at the game again.
No, coach. Let's look at it. We'll talk about the game properly and can break that down a little bit more.
Okay, let's go. Let's go back to it. Let's go. Where do you want to start?
Well, if we were talking about Gennacho, like you said, pretty much, he had a very good game. Just his finishing, that was the problem. The last decision making, he got in good positions, and it's the only positive you can take away. He kept going and kept doing it. He didn't shy him away, and he didn't put him off.
He didn't sulk, yeah.
So he kept trying hard. He kept trying to do the same things. They weren't working. You can see he was frustrated, but he went again and went hard again and kept trying to do it. So, that shows you that he's still hungry for it. And even though he missed those, probably rushing a bit off balance, a bit of rushing too much, a bit of off balance, a couple of them, it's still a positive that he got in those positions really, really well. So, and he got past his defender very easy on those occasions as well, some of those attacks. So, he's got all those traits that you want in a wide touchline winger that's direct. He's got to finish that, got to finish his meal basically. And then, you're going to have quite high numbers with him. So look, it's a positive. He's still young. Let's not forget, he's still very young, although he's got the experience in the Premier League. It's just something he needs to fine tune and get right, that split moment decision making right at the end. And basically that's what makes players basically go up to the next level.
But the signs are good, wouldn't you say?
Sorry?
The signs are good. When you say the signs are good,
The sign's very good. He was very good before the last two games. I think he was very good. He was very direct, creating chances, putting balls in dangerous areas across the penalty box. So he was very good, I think. So he started this game a little bit slow, the first 10 minutes, but after that he got into it, creating, getting spaces. Like I said, just did not finish. So that's what he needs to fine tune and really work on, because that will push him to the next level, because he's doing everything right in the build up. So he's doing that in the build up right. The runs are good. Everything's good. Just got to finish his meal. Simple as that.
yeah, and unfortunately, and I know we say this all the time. The average football fan would judge you based on a goal, a misses, or win. In terms of okay, the overall game, they judge the team based on goal, based on win, draw, or a loss. For a player, if you miss a chance, that defines how they see you on the day, especially if you don't score another one. If let's assume a player can miss two chances, you can say can miss three chances, score two, and you don't see people talk about the misses. Even if they reference the misses, they say something to the effect of he could have scored four,
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly.
he scored three. But the
And I think
moment you don't score one,
We've seen
yeah,
Cole Palmer do that 100 times already. Missed so many easy
exactly.
chances.
Yeah, you miss the easiest of chances, score one difficult one, and again, you can argue something important is also the status of that player in question.
Of course,
you
yeah,
you can get away with missing tons of chances, and even when teams lose, when your team lose, you don't hear the fans talk about you a lot. But in the case of Ganacho, a lot of people were on him already. He'd have
yeah,
to put in some exceptional performances in consecutive games for people to start, you could say, giving him credit. So we seen Copama in the game against Bournemouth. You saw the chance he missed. How many times do people talk about it? No. But yeah, I get it. The argument will come up, but that is Copama, and that's the point because it's Copama. So Ganacho did well. I take positives from the fact that yeah, I think how did you phrase it? I think that's the easiest way to phrase it. But let me use what comes to mind. He popped up in good places. The only thing he didn't do was put away the chances that come his way. And unfortunately for him, missing chances, and if you don't score any in a game, that miss will define how people view you, maybe from that particular game alone. But yeah, that's how the average fan behaves. Unfortunately for him, but he's a good signing, and I think he will prove a lot of people wrong, so to speak. And when Gittins came on, you could hear people discussing how he was better than Ganacho. The same Gittins that people were saying was inferior to Ganacho.
yeah,
So
yeah.
unfortunately, the average fan will almost always judge a player by yeah his output in a particular game, especially if you're not popular with the fan base. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Dante.
Exactly, coach. It's just like I said, people have short memories. It's what they do in the last game. It looks like it. They don't go back before. So, look, it is what it is. We just can, point it out, and people can think what they want and have their own opinion. That's fine. But yeah, I think it's pretty important to back these players and just support them and criticize them when need to be criticized, which is fine. But and stop comparing it to other players or other previous players, and that just support the players. Simple as that, really. So he's a good player. Garnacho got in the right positions, didn't finish. Criticizing him for that, but the signs are very good. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Jay, I don't know if it's important to you to answer why you why we have two J's on the panel. And yeah, and the person that usually asks such question, nothing. Mabas don't see anything and move on from it. He will always talk about it. That's because when your connection isn't stable, sometimes you get knocked out and you come back again. It registers it as a new speaker or something like that. But let's see anything else. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the conversation this particular morning. Something else I had in mind that I wanted us to talk about. Okay, let's look at the numbers. Possession, not a factor. Not a factor I usually like to consider. But in my opinion, in my opinion, a controlled performance. And not a lot of people, and you can say saying the same. Let's see. Expected goals 2.20. We didn't really, again, we measured our XG, which is good. Theirs is 1.03. They underperformed their XG. 17 shots in total, 11 for them. 5 shots on target for us, 2 for them. Big chances, we have 5 big chances, them 3. So we should be, you can say we had good enough chances to have scored more than 3 goals, really. Big chances missed, we missed 3, they missed 3. Accurate passes, not, I usually don't pay attention to that. We committed a lot more fouls. Corners, they had 7 corners and we had 3. Yeah, total shots. Let's look first half statistics. I want to see that done overall. Okay. First half we had an XG, finished with an XG of 1.12. There's 0.45. Total shots in first half for us 9, 5 for them. Shots on target 4 for us, 2 for them. Much, you can say we were much better first half, and that reflects what Dante said. In the second half, you can say fatigue did set in, and we looked a bit sluggish. And yeah, they at some point of during the game they were better. They looked like they were going to score actually. Why is Maresca taking for what exactly, Shanks? Gusto is showing improvement. I think it'd be correct to say he's showing improvement because he's gotten used to operating in that manner. He's gotten used to it, and we've always known that eventually he'd get better at it. At first, it was just him. You can say helping us over. He was just him popping up in areas, completing the triangles, helping us gain a numerical advantage over the opposition at any given time. He did the basics right at the time. There weren't goals, there weren't assists, but we knew that eventually those things would start to fall into place. And you could argue that's the case. How many goals in how many games goes in how many games right now? So he's been doing well. Dante, the improvement coming. What do you make of it?
Yeah, look, he's improved a little bit, but this goes back to the thing, he's had one good game, goal and assist, and people are seeing that, and now they're saying he's improved. Well, yeah, he's been pretty good before that. Just didn't have that part because he was never asked to do that part. He was never asked to, goals or assists. That's not his game. That's not his role in that team. So if you do it, well, that's a big bonus, but that's not his role in the team. So, yeah, he's definitely improved a little bit, but I think it's more down people seeing this. It's more down to him adding the goals and assists to that part.
That changes the narrative that he shouldn't be operating in that manner.
Yeah, exactly. So look,
because the average football fan wants to see goals and assists from him, not paying attention to him popping up in places, overloading, completing the triangles, and helping us keep the ball, or helping us, you can say, double up on
ball
opposition
recoveries.
players. Go ahead.
Yeah, ball recoveries, breaking opposition's attack, as
He's
in
mastered it.
when they want to counter attack, when we lose the ball up front. So he's usually one of those guys there that they have to get past, and that's his role. It's a very important role for him to do that safety net as well. And usually Caicedo is behind that as well. Then he makes it even harder. So look, he's already slightly improved since Maresca come. He's been getting better and better. It's just people haven't seen it because they don't pay attention to that. They pay attention to mostly goals. So I think defensively, he's definitely, he's been. It's just he's improved a little bit offensively because of the assist and goals. But, again, I said that's why people are saying like Shanks, because he just scored and assisted. So that's why people are saying
game,
he's
if we
improved a lot.
lose and he operates in that manner, and he operated in that manner, they turn against him. They start questioning the manager why he
Oh yeah,
plays.
next game. Yeah, last game was last game was about that. Before that was the same.
With screenshots.
Yeah, so yeah, look, like I said, he's already been doing what he needs to do as a team role. He wasn't doing it the best. Again, he wasn't in the best form. Couple of games, like I said, every player has that. So he does the job that in the system that Maresca operates. He's a very important player in that system, especially against the better teams. is extremely important. And every time we played against better teams in this, he shows up because he exploits those spaces and that the counter attacks from opposition team and breaks their midfield and their rhythm as well. So he's very important to what Maresca wants to do. And it's a bonus that he's added the assist and the goal. Obviously, that's a big bonus. But yeah, I wouldn't to take. You're not going to see too much of that going forward, I don't think.
Here's the thing. I like the kid, and I'm just happy that I was able to realize early on his importance to the team. But Jay, your opinion on the improvement we've seen from Gusto? I expected him to improve. I knew that he was again only a matter of time that he starts scoring and start creating goals. I was never concerned, but yeah, the average football fan, you expect them to want him to score a lot of goals. I want him to score, create a lot of goals. But I knew at the time it would take a while. And you could say he's come onto his own. And he's made that role his own, actually. I think the inverting role, he actually fulfills that role better than Cucurella because he's more technically gifted than Cucurella. But let's hear you.
And just before Jay goes, just having Palmer back makes a big difference as well because Palmer's the type of guy that makes those runs. He has the high IQ, intelligent runs, and that makes a big difference.
And before Jay speaks, did you see the screenshot of Cucurella celebrating even before Palmer got to the ball?
Cucurella was.
Trust.
Yeah.
That's serious trust. Go ahead, Jay. Sorry if you're still speaking, Dante.
No, Cucurella was the one celebrating before the goal went in. He was already celebrating. It was pretty funny watching that. Yeah. Go on, Jay.
Yeah, obviously that Palmer chance, I think, rarely would be any person that even in the stadium or through the television, we all were expecting Palmer once reaching that position in front of the goal, he was scoring that. I think everybody was already celebrating, me being one of them. So yeah, that's expected. Gusto, I would say massive improvement, and I will say both defensively and offensively. I think obviously it's a new system for both the fans and I think for the player as well, in which Maresca wants him to play. And with time, he has got a lot accustomed to it, and it it we can see the fruits of it. Getting we see the fruits now coming through, and he does. He's again, I will mention, he's one of those players that Maresca does want his system to be around it, and well, ultimately, we are seeing the result. We all questioned it earlier because he was struggling, but then the more the team got stability, I think Gusto even got stability, and now he's adding numbers to it as well. I think that first goal, he was for years or maybe months, he was waiting for that first goal, and now when he's past that barrier, he's getting more. I think assist-wise, he has always been
He's been
up there.
getting assists, yeah.
Yeah, he's actually, I think, number one or number two in Premier League. I don't know this season or I think this year, calendar year. I don't know what was the stat, but he was up there in first or second position, assist wise.
And
So he
Jay,
is
if you
good.
don't mind, in that goal where he scored his first goal, he could have scored two on the day. A header too.
Yeah, he has been. Prior to that, he has been in very good opportunities. Unlucky most of the times, cleared off the line or something happens. Even his own players got in his way. So stuff like this does happen, especially when you're, desperate to get that first goal. So it was good moment for him, and I am pretty sure that he will get those numbers, especially in the position that Maresca deploys him. It's always a chance, especially as Dante mentioned, a player like Palmer. I think there will be big question mark if there was no Palmer because Gusto had that confidence in Palmer. That is why he made that pass. Palmer utilized it. He fulfilled his vision, and I think any other player could have that. That was a 50-50. We won't be sure if anyone else was in that position of Palmer, but it was Palmer. So big credit to Palmer and Palmer as well. And it's the same thing that as a team, your performance also elevates when you got good players around you. That's also the case. I actually want to mention his defensive duties. I know he has been good, as Dante mentioned, but I will say he has improved it much better. There is a confidence in fans' eyes now. We remember when Reece was deployed in that right back position. there was never that solid confidence defensively that he will do the exact same stuff that James do. Now, I personally feel that even if Reece James has been taken off, Gusto is going to do, if not equal, better sometimes. So that's massive, massive improvement to him as well. In apart from the goal and assist yesterday, he was winning tackles. He was, even if he lost the ball, if someone else lost the ball, he was chasing it and putting in the tackles, winning the ball, and even the crowd was
And the
cheering him.
tackles and just on the flanks in the central areas, he was winning tackles, winning tackles on the flanks too. That is on the where again he played where he played traditionally, but the
Yeah.
tackles were also in the center, in the midfield area, in the final thought, in everywhere on the pitch.
Yeah, 100%. And it was good to see the crowd also, acknowledging and appreciating these non-GA things that a player do. And I think he is good. He's one of those players. And look, we should also not expect, the general fans to understand all these tactical sides of the game. I think most of the fans are there for entertainment. They like GA, and I think they are excused for that. We can't expect everyone to understand the no, kind of non-tangible things that Gusto or players like Gusto does under the Maresca system particularly. So I think the fans are excused, and the criticism as well. I don't think, I just want to defend some of the fans as well, that I don't think the fans were really criticizing Gusto for being higher up. I think there has been a period now where fans have accepted Gusto and that role. I know there are still the people out there who criticize this role, but I think most of them has accepted it, and they really does appreciate it. I think it was the Atlanta match. Gusto being higher up is not a problem. Four fullbacks being on the pitch at the same time and three of them being in the center is a problem. So I think those were two separate debates and topics.
I mean, they see
Gusto
it as a
is,
problem, but I think it's down to the fact that we lost. And something I want to ask you quickly, Jay. I think would it be correct to say the fans' criticism weren't really directed at him? Some still criticize him, calling for the club to sell him, but some were furious that we have midfielders and Gusto operates the way he does on the pitch. Some weren't happy with the manager. They just want to see midfielders there and not him, even without paying attention to how he operates.
yeah, I think that will be fair to say. And some things are looks exclusive to your own club. Uh, am I audible?
Yeah, you are, Jay. You are. I just had to mute my mic to say something to my boy.
Okay. Yeah, so I think some things are exclusive to your clubs, and the fans of those clubs should understand it. Reece James is not the fittest of player. He can't do the regular, fullback duties, and hence he's being used in the midfield as well. And that is why I think it's a collective part of that Reece James, Gusto, and that eight role or hybrid inverting. I think all those things are really a combined stuff, which is exclusive to Chelsea, and fans need to understand it because if Reece James was able to do everything with staying injury free, I don't think that there will be Maresca will be forced to try and experiment such things. So yeah, I think it's fair to say that and I will be one of those. I'll admit that I was the one who was asking for Gusto to be sold at one point because I was frustrated by seeing that new role because it was not fruitful at that time, and I was guilty of it. But I'm really able to admit that I was wrong, and big praise to Maresca and Gusto for making things work, and hopefully this does work more often.
Yeah, I never doubted his role. Was never concerned, and I do again. I think at the time we were telling people that just pay attention to what is the primary reasons for the manager again. Primary reasons why the manager utilizes him the way he did. But people like you, Jay, shamefully, weren't paying
Yep.
weren't paying attention. But no, but Jay, I think you're correct. A lot of people probably because yeah, and you could argue rightly so. He looked out of place in some cases, but I with these you could say, but there are some things that he did. He did the basics right? Which meant the manager had to continue playing him there until, now he's looked like he was born to do it. But that's right
Yeah,
away.
maybe it came out of necessity. It was required at that time because of the
Exactly.
injuries to Lavia and Reece James. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think we should give credit to Maresca for doing this thing, because it was not ultimately that he was out of luxury trying things. It was a requirement at that time. Lavia and Reece James were a big reason, I think, for this formulation to happen.
Exactly. That's what I was going to add as well. The people that were out, we kind of had no choice, really, to be honest. That was that pushed it as well. Also, obviously, when he's gone in that 10 to do a defensive job, which hasn't been very often, to be honest, it's been very little. But obviously, we haven't had Palmer there. So really, only Enzo Fernandez has been playing there most of that time. And, so Gusto's like when we were up or when we were drawing, he's gone in there. He's very rarely, he hasn't gone that often, to be honest. So it's out of
And what is
necessity
I
more as
go
well.
ahead, Dantis. I apologize.
Yeah, no, just to add to Jay, what Jay said, exactly right. It's out of necessity as well. So
What was it really? Because the inverted fullback role is the hallmark of Maresca's approach.
no, I'm talking about going up and up, like Jay was saying, especially in that 10 on that position. Most of it was out to necessity a lot of those times. And not having players available, like Jay said, in that midfield area as well. Well, that's why Gusto, inverted into there quite a lot as well. So, because normally it's not him. Normally he'll play. You'll see Cucurella doing that role, going in the midfield and going out wide and crashing the box, and then Gusto stays a little bit more defensive. So he's not the one usually to go that much forward. So he did a few games, but that's very little in the context of overall things. It's not that often.
Yeah, look at what's his name? Uh Shanks saying that Gusto cannot cross. I disagree. It's a matter of, because you could argue the reason you're saying that, probably because he hasn't played consistently as a traditional. He hasn't applied himself consistently as a traditional fullback. He puts in
Yeah,
crosses into the box, and why I like his crosses is he puts pace in them. That if he gets you, all you need to do is just to direct it into the post, into the back of the net. You don't need a lot of power.
Yeah,
Maybe
under our
yeah. I
some,
would.
X, he was crossing a lot, and he did pretty
maybe
well.
maybe
Yeah,
something I haven't seen him do is put the ball put you could say his crosses are mainly on the carpet. I don't remember a lot seeing him put crosses in the air. But I think he's been quite unlucky with the crosses he's put in the box, maybe. But I like the fact that he adds pace, a lot of pace to his crosses. And I like carpet crosses too, but sometimes you have to look, see how to navigate defenders there that are there to block your crosses. But I think he's been, he does cross, but because he's not been operating as a traditional fullback yet, there are no spaces for him to be doing a lot of that. Go ahead.
yeah, and he's more central, so he's
Mhm.
not going to cross too much. Yeah,
That's a good point, for Dante. I was also about to mention that under Pochettino, he was one of the best crossers of the ball. He was really looking good in
exactly.
that. So it's wrong to say that he can't do it. But in this
And for
particular
France
role,
as well.
as a eight in the center, you can't expect him to cross. He will cross where? I think Neto does that job more than him, because he has been deployed like that.
Yeah. Let's do this. Let's talk about this man, uh, Wesley Fofana. But before I do that, let me catch up with what we have here. Big up to you to Fundamentally Blue. Nice to see you. I think I like that name. I think you should start the channel with that name. Honestly, it's beautiful. But I'd change it to Fundamentally Chelsea if I want to start a channel. Let's do. Yeah, hi, people. He's there. Gusto offers more in the midfield than Enzo at the moment. Yeah, you're not gonna drag me into arguing with you. His role is different, and maybe because what again the what he does, the primary reasons why he operates the way he did, or he applies himself the way he did on the pitches, like the manager wants, is what tickles your fancy. If that's the case, yeah, enjoy it. But I'm happy we have both. That's just my opinion. Okay, Bobby, see you when you come. Let's see you. Cuckoo rates Palmer, but ask him not to pass to Mudrik, and it's a no. He knows that brother belongs in the Chinese league. Okay, that's just me. You reading your nonsense. But I'm not gonna do it again. Okay, Bobby. Let's see you. Hopefully, we'll still be here by the time you join again. What else do you have here? Go watch the tapes, coach. The evidence is there. Gusto cannot cross. I don't agree with you, and I've presented my counter opinion on that comment there. Dante, let's start with you. Because the reason I want to start with you is that you've heard me, and at the time you could say rightly so. He did some things that did come across as if he was still raw, which you could argue down to the fact that he hadn't played in a while. Um, and I think my argument, even now, I think it'd be accurate to say had he played consistently, had he been fit and continued playing consistently, he'd be twice as much the player as twice as good as he is right now. Because you cannot tell me he continued developing even when he was out injured. So my argument at the time, and rightly so, he did some stuff that did come across as he was still raw. And you could argue, yeah, that'd be accurate because he was out for a while. But what a player he's proven to be. And what I liked especially the most, the tactical foul he committed during that game. I think he read the situation very well because that was risky. Had he been the last man and committed such foul, he'd be in trouble. But he's an intelligent player too. He's not quite there yet, but my goodness, he's different. When we're different whenever he's he is in our defensive line. It really he's good. He's good on the ball. I've come to realize, in fact, that yeah, he's also good on the ball. But what I paid attention to mainly before recent games is that he likes to drive with the ball. But he's been a revelation. I think it'd be accurate to say that because I've never seen him this good for Chelsea. Your thoughts, Dante? I think he makes us different. He'd be a mainstay there if he stays fit.
Yep. Yeah, well, I've always pretty much said he's the most sort of talented centre back we have. He's the number one guy, but unfortunately, you got to be available for that to happen, and you got to have a run of games, to prove that. He's still got some way to go, but it just showed you the quality he is, on the ball, defensive wise, tackles, in the air, he's not bad either. So he's shown that the last 6 games that he's played with Chalobah that yeah, he can do that. He can definitely do that. He's got everything. There's a reason we paid 70 million for him. So he had this is what you expect from that. So he's been showing that lately. It just needs to keep it going. It needs to be managed correctly and keep it going. And yeah, definitely, like I said, I've always thought he was our most talented defender, all-round defender. I think he's number one. I think he's still the guy overall that is in defensive with the ball and everything. I think he's still our number one defender, which wasn't good at the time because he just wasn't available. And I said it's a problem if he's our best defender and he's not available to play at all. And he hasn't, he comes back, plays 2-3 games and then out again. So a bit of a run now with games. Hopefully, he's over some of those injuries. And, he's shown you that he's class. He's got that ability to do it, no problem. So it's a big, big positive for us. I think he's one of the major reasons why, we've gone on, we've picked up a lot of these points, especially in the last 6
Kept a lot of clean sheets.
Yeah, him and Chalobah as well. They've worked well together. So yeah, he's definitely one of the main reasons we're up there. Him, pretty much that triangle, your centre back, goalkeeper, your two centre backs and your goalkeeper. That's a very important triangle always to get right. And if those are firing, usually, you're going to get results pretty much every game. You're going to have a really good result because that's a solid core to start off with. So hopefully he stays fit, keeps going. The new challenge will be then when Colwell comes back in, because then Colwell, he has to, with Colwell as well. So we'll see how that partnership works. But yeah, look, like I kept saying, and I'll say he's the most talented defender we've had, and even now I think he's our most talented defender that we have. So, and that's why I said we probably need to sign, if we can sign someone to partner him, and when he's out or Colwell's out or him, Chalobah's there, which is good, but just one more defender that is pretty much a starter sort of defender in there. So you have those options. We really need one more there. That's a signing we have to look at now. We can, that can come in. It can be one of the other players, but as for now, there's not too many there at the moment. So that is one position we need to really, really improve.
Yeah, let's look at what his numbers tell us. Okay, but before we do that, let's hear from Jay. Then we'll look at his numbers. Then I think it's important also we talk about Trevor Chalobah. He has to be one of our most improved players. Honestly, he's looked more confident on the ball. Even when he makes mistakes, he's been able to like immediately take corrective actions, and he stays. We know definitely he stays. The question is, would he want to extend his contract? But I don't want to get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But he's been brilliant, really. I think he's going to make it. If he stays, he's going to make life difficult. You can say it won't be easy for Levi Coward to just get into the team and become a mainstay. But yeah, let's hear you, Jay. Wesley Fofana. I don't. Have you spoken about him? And I forgot.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Haven't really mentioned him. Yeah, one of the really, important players for us when it comes to analyzing that defensive stability and the clean sheet. I think we got 8 now. It's equal with Arsenal at top of the table. So really good defensive record, and I think big credit of that goes to Fofana. Obviously, Chalobah is there from the start, but Fofana has really transformed it to something else. And I always mention, when we are discussing the case of Tosin, that centre back on their own are obviously talented, but they need a good partnership. Only then you can really help the team as a whole. And I think this is a good example. Chalobah does struggle and was totally a different player with Tosin or paired with someone else. And with Fofana, it looks like that they are unbeatable. And a big credit of that it does goes to Fofana. Even when Chalobah sometimes misjudges the ball or leaves the player anywhere open. I think Fofana does cover it really well. He's fast and he's really good on the ball. I like how relaxed he is when tackling defenders. So
How
yeah,
does he
I'm
compare to
happy.
Rudiger?
Can be said, yeah, it can be said. Obviously, Rudiger was a little, hothead kind of guy. He was much physical and kind of taking that battle with the attackers. I think he's a little calm and relaxed, which is obviously good for us. And I can't imagine how, good we would have been with Colville and him. Pardon me, the kids being there around. Sorry.
Yeah. Dante, off the bat for you, how does Fofana compare to Rudiger? I'd say just aggression. That's one thing they have in common. I don't want to start saying who's better than the other in the other aspects of their game, but I think
Mm.
one thing they have in common is aggression. You get that aggression you get from Rudiger. I think you get it from Fofana.
Yeah, the aggression, obviously. I mean, tactically and technically, Fofana's way better than. But Rudiger's more of a defender, rugged defender.
Yeah,
Rough.
but he's capable of driving with the ball too. You say
He
exploit.
can run with the ball because he's got that explosive speed, so he can do that. But technically, with the ball, he's nowhere near Fofana, as in good enough, as in technical to dribble around, and keep the ball away from defenders. So that's different from just running with the ball. So, yeah, a little bit different type of defenders. Like I said, he's a bit more of a pure sort of a bit of more hardcore defender. Rudiger is, he's a hard guy. He plays hard. He plays a bit dirty. So that's just his style. That's how he plays. And it's worked for him in his career. He's a very, very, very talented defender. So, yeah, a little bit different from Fofana, though.
Yeah, I would actually say that he is one of those players who has been the most unfortunate with injuries. Very talented. Whenever he comes on the pitch, he does shows that. And if he was, going to remain fit or he was fit for maybe a year, I think he would have been in the conversation with these young guys who has been dominating the Premier League defensively, like Saliba, Gabriel, and even Konate the past year. So he would have been in that list. He is that much talented. I can say that because whenever he comes back for 2, 3 matches, even for the past, times when we witnessed him for 2, 3 matches, we were praising him, but it's just that he was not able to continue it past 3 games. And now Maresca hopefully do the same thing which has done to Reece James. And when Colville comes back, we can really, kind of shut down signing a new centre back. I think it can help us really, really uh, well defensively for the next season as well.
The truth remains, irrespective of how good our defenders are. I think but I don't think we're good enough right now. But we're doing well. Maybe we don't have depth, but we have a pairing that whenever they're on the pitch, you can say for sure we're not going to concede careless goals. But we don't have depth in that good enough depth in that defensive area.
Yeah, coach.
Um,
That area needs a bit of a reshuffle and a
mhm.
rethink. Just basically, to move some players on, bring some new players in, reshuffle that area a little
Yeah,
bit, and try to get it right. Like I said, you got to have your, 4 of those solid defenders that you're going to have, those really strong sort of defenders, and then you can have like Ansamino Sarr as there as well mixed in. But those top 4 have to be really solid. And I think we just we need one. I know people saying Colwell was very good for the last 2 months, 3 months before he was injured, but let's not forget before that he was not that
yeah,
good.
he was.
So
He was. We were just waiting for him to continue in the trajectory we experienced
exactly.
towards the end of the
So,
season in Club World Cup. I think it'll be more like a restart for him. It's not going to be easy. Um,
and again, he has to partner a new partner, and that's what I mean. Yeah. So uh, that's why that area needs a reshuffle. Yeah, good. Colwell, I think he's definitely one. Fofana, hopefully he stays, not gets injured, so he's one there. Chalobah is good there to have that rotation piece when needed. Uh, he's proving at the moment that he's undroppable at the moment, but we know with Chalobah, he does that. He's always done that. It's been a pattern in his career. He's got good games, and then he puts in a couple of stinkers after that. He's never been properly consistent. So
until
yeah,
of
so
late,
look,
I must say, he's been consistent of late.
yeah, of late he has been, but that's been his whole career, coach. That's what I'm just going by. He's always been like that. He's come in 3-4 games, amazing, really good, and then 2-3 games horrible, then 1 game good, then really bad. He's never actually been properly consistent. This is probably one of the longest runs he's had, to be honest, 6 games. So that's why it's not a sure bet. What I'm saying, it's not. He's a great guy to have in the squad that you can rotate with, and he can play a lot of games. But I don't think he's that mainstay for us to take that next step, as in to start winning things. I don't think he's quite that guy to be starting every week. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, Jay, you want to weigh in on the comment on the screen before you talk about Chalobah?
Not really. I mean, one player surely cannot be the reason for you being challenging and not challenging, especially if we're talking about a centre back. I think it will be harsh or rather impractical to say that a defender could have elevated us to challenging. I think there's still some areas where we could do better, and maybe not even with new investment, but rather with experience. With time, even this group can challenge. But I would rather say this year with even Colwell, I don't think that we would have been challenged. But yeah, surely much more, so much more. I would say confident with that top 4. I don't think we would be batting for it.
And that's down to, you could say, not necessarily from a defensive perspective, in my opinion, but from his line breaking passes, which is very critical to the manager's preferred approach to football. He nearly lost it once when Cole got injured. Um, so not necessarily, yeah, I think it'd be accurate to say that. But that's my opinion anyway. Let's see what else we have here. What do we have? Anything else here? Chalobah is needed for rotation, and he can also play in the midfield. I don't think Maresca will play him in the midfield. He's not that sort of player.
He's not technically good enough for that. No,
Yeah,
he will
he's
never
not.
be in the midfield.
I think you'd see what's his name? You'd see Achampong in the midfield before Chalobah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's not a hidden fact that the owners or the club had tried to sell Chalobah in the past, and that has been a constant approach for doing that. Do you think that has kind of now vanished, or there is still a chance that he will be one of those players that get sold because he will be the one good the one who will get good cash? Because I don't think Badiashile and Tosin are really giving them too much of money.
That's not much of an issue. Let him pay. You can say they got him as a free agent, but Dante, you go ahead, start.
No, I don't think he's quite 100% safe. No, I don't think he is.
Well,
Like I said,
I think he himself, if he sees a good opportunity, he'd take it.
yeah, exactly.
Bearing in mind that it took in an injury to one of our defenders for him to be recalled. Irrespective of how happy he is or how proper Chelsea is, if a good opportunity comes, he'd take it. Go ahead,
Well,
Nat.
yeah, not just him. It was Badiashile out as well. We had a couple of defenders out. Remember, everyone was injured.
Mhm.
So, yes, he got his chance, and yeah, he took it. But like I said, Chalobah is up there, and he's one of our more experienced defenders. Basically, entering his prime. He's in his prime, so he hasn't shown consistency at that top level yet, and that's at Crystal Palace either. Same thing. Since he's come back, same thing. Now the last 6 games, yes, great, but is that going to last? So it's also how Maresca. I know Maresca likes him, but I can guarantee you, if there's a better defender there, he'll start over Chalobah. So it's up to Chalobah as well. He's entering, like I said, his prime. If we have Colwell back, I can pretty much guarantee you Colwell starting left centre back and Fofana's right centre back. That's your two starting centre backs. He won't be the starter. So if he's happy to play that role, I think he'll stay. But if he's not and he gets an offer somewhere where he can go and be a starter in his prime, I think he takes it. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think all these,
I think it's common sense, really. But go ahead, Jay.
yeah, just the last point. I think all these permutations, combinations for the center back, next year is going to kind of reshuffle, and I think it will depend on how or what type of Colwell we are kind of getting back, because it's a hamstring, and most of the time it does change a player completely or partially. So it will depend what kind of Colwell we are getting back after that injury as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yes,
ACL is not a hamstring, isn't it? An ACL.
Oh, right, is here.
who
ACL. Not
SDL?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Why did Chalobah play in midfield then if he wasn't good enough? Good enough for, you can say, if you're looking for a midfielder that's capable of just playing, just breaking up a position play and not do a lot more, he can fulfill that role. But Maresca's midfielders, you have to be able to do a lot more than just break up a position play or be a destroyer. Does that make sense to you?
We've clearly seen him. He's not technically, even as a
Yeah,
defender,
he's
he can't
not the
pass
most
to the left,
technical
only to the right. That's already a big sign. And he's not comfortable with the ball at his feet at all. He wants to get rid of it every single time. And just the way he plays, you can tell. You've never seen him do a turn or beat a man. You've never hardly seen him do that. So he's not that type of player. And I think his brother, Nathaniel Chalobah, played in midfield for us when he debuted as well. So, yeah, it doesn't mean, it's pretty clear and evident he's not a midfield player, because he really does not want the ball, to be honest. You see him every time. And not passing to only mostly to your right, that's a big problem.
Yeah. Do you guys think it's a similar case like that of Gallagher, whose main strength was availability? And Chalobah, whether you like it or not, is one of those guys who's available for us most of the time and does help us a lot when we are short on
Yes.
players and getting troubled.
But even Gallagher,
And
even
there was
though
a
I
similar
kind of rate
argument for
him,
Gallagher as well,
he's
if you
still better
remember.
than Chalobah technically with the ball, at least. He can pass left, right, back, forward, can take a man on. He's still not good at it, but he was better than Chalobah at it.
Yeah, I think his availability is his biggest asset, Chalobah. But again, there are a bit of flaws, and he's too much dependent on the partner, on the centre back
Correct.
partner, which is
Yes, he
always
is.
not
He's
a
too
good
much
sign.
dependent. Yeah, and that's what I say. He's not really. It's a good run, but he's not really that guy that's going to be in your defense starting every week. That it's going to win you a Premier League. It's just I just don't see that happening with him, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, and just quickly, Bobby, there's nothing wrong with the link. I think the issues from your end, so keep trying. It happened the other day. Before you start blaming me, let's see. Can you guys discuss the last 48 hours comment? Jay, you want to start? I'm not sure what to make of it. For me, that's it. I think. I think for me, the 48 hours comment for me, the fan base, a lot of the fans, you could say, were expressing their opinions after that loss. Some rightly so, some were objective, some were just spewing emotionally driven opinions that to an extent doesn't make sense. Some didn't talk about what the real issues, in my opinion, were. They were just going to sack the manager, sack the manager. He doesn't know what he's doing. Some, some spoke senselessly, in my opinion. Um, I think that's what he meant. I don't think he he means anything else, in my opinion. But yeah, and all the aspect of his comments during that particular presser does show it doesn't really move him. But he's a human being. Now, of course, he moves into a certain measure, but he's able to deal with it. But Jay, let's hear you. The 48 hours comment. What do you make of it?
Yeah, look, we won the game, but obviously the topic of victory was there. But one of the key debates that has been going on social media and specifically X is this 48 hours. So yeah, this was the topic that I also wanted to discuss, and I was waiting for it because it's a big thing going on social media. I think everyone has forgotten the match, and everyone is kind of indulged uh, in discussing this thing. Um, uh, Look, it depends on what kind of a way you are kind of thinking. In which way are you thinking that this should be taken? Um, I would like that it was towards the fans because that would be good for him and that is more okay. But logically, it feels me that this was not really directed towards the fans because reason being there has been similar outburst of kind of streaks of us losing matches and the crowd and the whole fan base online and even in the stadium being against the team or booing the team and kind of not supporting them. There has been instances several times, especially the last winters of the last season. So this is not a new thing. I won't say that he has mentioned that for the first time, he felt that the last 48 hours were the most troubling for him. So it can't be towards the fan, logically. That's what my mind says. It must be towards the sporting directors, and I think this is just guesswork. It must be with respect to that Atlanta game. I trust a guy, Max London, if you know, he's good with his insights or with his contacts in what's kind of going inside the club, not with any particular transfer, but yeah, with the talks inside the club. He has been accurate for a lot of time, and he kind of put it out that it was kind of towards the sporting directors to be accurately particular about it. And it was maybe because of their Atlanta game. They might have questioned him about the lineup, the selection of the players and the kind of tactical approach that he took towards that match. Um, because we as fans were discussing it. I was heavily discussing it and criticized him. But and now it's a topic whether it's good for the directors to actually question him or not. But I don't know. The
I
first thing is that I
honestly
think it
don't
was
think
not
that
towards
that's
the
in any
fans.
way directed at the directors.
Exactly. That's the first element of what you are trying to, what you believe. I actually think it logically can't be towards the fans, but yeah,
It's just the
it's
fans.
all
The
up to
fans make
interpretation.
sense to me, but the directors, I don't think he'd say anything publicly like that.
It's hard. It's actually hard because that club, the ownership and the directors are, and this coach are the collective group. They have been on the same side for most part of this journey. So it will be a little different and hard to believe that suddenly they are asking him question. But that does make sense with reference to the comment that for the first time this last 48 hours. So this is something exclusive that must have happened.
I struggle to connect to find a way to justify or maybe the belief that really that was a go at the directors. No, I don't think he's that sort of person. If he's gotten to a point, if he's frustrated to a point where he's decided to have a go at the directors, he'd be very, very, very clear with it. I don't think he's sugarcoat it. That's just my opinion. But Dante, let's hear you.
Yeah. Yes, I know Jay said Max from London and Simon Phillips and those guys. Well, no, those guys are pretty horrible actually for the club. Uh, they're ones that I hate. They don't like Maresca. They don't like the ownership. They're the ones where they're asking the questions. They're the ones that have put articles out in the last couple of weeks, in the last 48 hours, criticizing and taking fan interaction and agreeing with the fans about Maresca. That's, in my opinion, who was that was directed at, basically indirectly the fans, but to that media, especially to that Chelsea media. That's exactly who that was directed to. So it is fans, but indirectly sort of to the fans. But those, especially those reporters, those guys, if you've seen the rubbish they have been writing the last couple of weeks, and before we went on a good run, that the stuff they were writing about Maresca, and then again now that we've lost, the stuff they've been writing, and they are Chelsea fans, but they're media people too. So I think he's directing that pretty much to, like I said, to them, the media, the Chelsea media, and indirectly to the
That
fans.
even makes more sense than the fans. I
Yeah,
think it's the
it's the
media
fans
more.
as well indirectly, because even in
Yeah.
the game, after we scored, before we scored, so we scored the first goal, and then all of a sudden, after it was a murmur, it went silent. There was nothing. There was people yelling out. You can actually hear it. I don't know if you guys heard. I saw. You can actually hear people out abusing Maresca from the crowd, Chelsea supporters. Don't play this way, don't play that, like full on yelling at Maresca, and it went a big silence went around the crowd. Even then we scored the second goal, and then everyone was happy again. And then again, the second half, it went completely silent after the goal, and that it went really bad. And the crowd wasn't good yesterday at all. It was horrible, actually. And from what I've read, a lot of people saying there was a lot of stuff, yelled out and said. Now he hears that. He says he doesn't hear it, but he hears it. But he's directing, in my opinion, that the people who are asking those questions, which was Simon Phillips and Max and those ones, he's directing at those Chelsea specific reporters and the stuff they've been writing the last 48 hours about Maresca, and the comments and the fan interactions they've been talking about. Basically, those big accounts that they, like I said, they're journalists. They're journalists as well, but they're Chelsea supporters as well. But all on their channels and all their programs, they've been fully having a go at him and really talking bad about him, showing not much respect. And I think Maresca basically told them that pretty much to their face. In my opinion, that's what it's about.
Because also, before I go to Bobby, there's also a follow-up report on maybe independent of that particular 48 hours comment that did say something to the effect of insiders, the hierarchy, the way they see this, he's very calm, hardly ever worried about what the press say. But of course, during presses, when they ask him questions, he has to respond. But I think, Dante, you've made me realize you're coming more directed at the press, not the fans, because he's
It's
been good with
indirectly
them.
the fans, coach,
Yeah.
because the fans, especially that part of the fan base that we know who they are and what they hate,
Hmm.
those two associate with that part of the crowd. Do you understand the connection there, basically? So yeah, I think Maresca's seen that, and they're the ones that write most of the articles and for Chelsea. And unfortunately, they're Chelsea supporters, but they're not Maresca fans. They've never ever been. They hate Maresca. They hate the ownership. It's just
Even
who
when
they
he
are.
was doing well, they were still trying to convince people. You could say admiring the progress we've made. That
Yeah.
it's only temporarily that he will eventually fail. We will win nothing with him and all that. Yeah, some of them don't post anything on X until we start losing.
Yeah, yeah. So look, they're there in that media room with him. They're the ones, and the way he was looking at them, yeah, he was asking that question. I think that Max guy was asking Simon Phillips. They're asking those questions there. So I take it it's like that. And like I said, the stuff they've been spewing out is pretty disrespectful towards Maresca. They're not showing any support for him at all, and they're Chelsea people. And I think Maresca's seen that basically. He knows now who they are and what they are. And I think that's what he's talking about, to be honest, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, Bobby, let's say you finally you made it onto the panel. You didn't sue me. Um, Bobby, your thoughts on the 48 hours comment? I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, big up, guys.
Big up to you too.
It's Jay, Dante,
Bobby.
definitely, and you, Coach. Look, I came on to really talk about players. I think it's important to address certain things.
Okay, can you just address the 48 hours comment and you can
Yeah,
add that one to it?
I'm coming, Coach. Yeah, the 48 hours thing. Look, I'm with you, Coach. Maresca doesn't mess around. If he had any issue with the board or whoever he has issues with, he would make it clearer. His statement of him not being supported was a generic statement. He went through a horrible period since, was it Leeds? Bournemouth wasn't much better, and of course Atlanta was disgusting. It was within a short period of time. We are a team that's plagued with injuries and returning injuries, and of course, youthful players. But he was partly at fault with that, certainly his team selection. Where I don't agree with him, and what I think hurt him, was the realization of the fact that um, his deficiencies were pointed out to him with no uncertain terms. Where I do agree with him is where he spoke generically of not feeling supported. Sadly, we live in a day and age where social media is a tool for attention, a money making tool, and a tool for a lot of mischief. Mischief seems to sell more on social media than anything else. I mean, I hardly ever go on X apart from with football things within, in recent times. Why? Because it's really come to my attention that some of the nonsense that is there is, there's a lot of very, very, very sick people in this world. And, people, football fans included. And Chelsea in particular is a club that the media, who are his enemies, both the Chelsea media and the mainstream media and the general football media, um, try to latch onto things to sell their way to bring attention to themselves, and so people do things. I mean, look at David Moyes yesterday when he was asked, "So, what was the difference yesterday?" What did he say? Oh, £1 billion. I mean, that is pure propaganda, pure media driven, disingenuous approach. And it was a cop out, an excuse for him to say, hey, look, today we did well, but we were beaten by a better Chelsea side. That is exactly what happened yesterday. So I'm not getting my knickers in a twist over that. I had a terrible 24 hours, 48 hours, or whatever. He probably did. He probably did. Am I really angst about it? No, I think to a certain extent it's probably good that he did, because a lot of his performances there then was dreadful. But the Chelsea fans that we all know, that only write things and post things when things aren't going well to try and suit their narrative, are those that he's probably referring to more than anyone else. Because I think Chelsea's biggest distraction or detraction in the fan base is social media. I do take issue with what was being said about the fans at the stadium. It is not true. Football fans are football fans. There will be people that will say some things sometimes, but generally, what you will find at Stamford Bridge is if you talk too out of turn, the fans themselves will turn on you because they know the Chelsea fans are not stupid. Chelsea fans at the stadium are very intelligent people in terms of how they support the club. Even when they're silent, there's an unspoken etiquette amongst the fans not to do certain things. So I don't buy and I don't accept it's true that people are hurling insults at at Maresca. If they are, it's few and far between. Now, I've not been to the stadium in November or indeed December or so far in December, but I'm going to push to go back. I'm going to be pushed to go back again. Hopefully by the end of this December or beginning of January, because of this point. Because this is not the Chelsea I know, even the modern day Chelsea, where we have the spite and the nonsense comes from the social media fan base. So, I mean, that's what I have to say about that. If I may, if I can go into this thing about the players, because I think
No, you
where
can't
the
speak about Gennacho, Bobby.
where I think where well, I'm sort of coming to that. I think um, we are seeing the result of a development program with the level of talent we are developing. Gusto is beginning to come to fruition. People forget Gusto came to Chelsea at the age of 19. You know, he's been developing and he's beginning to show the qualities with which he was handpicked to come here for in the first place. He is a good player. Is he an excellent player? Well, time will tell, but is he a very good player? A player that will soon be one of those players that the club will find they can do without? 100%. Gusto, he will still, because he's young, have his dips in form. But what we're beginning to witness is that he's having more better days than bad days. The team in general does lack depth. You find when we have our key players available, we turn in almost unstoppable performances. But when we start losing, the likes of Fofana, James, and so on to injury, that's when we start having problems because the squad depth isn't enough to bring the quality that they bring to the team. I take issue with the attack on Chalobah as well. I think Trevor Chalobah has been a steady Eddie for Chelsea in the past 2 seasons he's returned to the club. He's not being given enough credit for what he does. Yes, he makes some mistakes. Which defender, even the so called great defenders, don't make mistakes? How often has Virgil van Dijk done some stupid things that has cost Liverpool? Yeah, he makes the odd errors, but more often than not, he is one of the stalwarts we've found we've been able to rely on this season. And his combination with a fitter Fofana at the moment is probably one of the, well, definitely one of the main reasons whenever they're together, we tend to keep clean sheets. I think the problem with our defense always arises when either one of them is not present, and Maresca shuffles his centre back pairing unnecessarily, which is a criticism he has to learn from rather than get hurt by, because it is down to him. The players are developing. This is why I made that point about, and here it comes, Dante, about Garnacho and Gittins. You see, we've gone through our development a lot with these players for the past 2.5 seasons, and we've got them all up, especially those that came from the beginning of this new wave of using youngsters. We got them all up to a level. They worked their way there. They got us to the Champions League. They won the Conference League, and they won the Club World Cup. Now, yes, we are a youth-based project, but when we do things like offload hard worked hard work to get certain players up to a certain level, only to bring in players that take us back to starting again vis-a-vis Garnachos, vis-a-vis Gittins, it affects the team. Garnacho and Gittins are just that step behind in their development to the rest of the Chelsea boys of similar age that have developed with the team. You're noticing now with Esteval, thank God we all had the sense to know, look, you got to give this kid time. You've got to know that sometimes he's not going to be all that. And he's beginning to show his age. One or two unimpressive performances off the bench in difficult places are part of the signs to show that we have an excellent player. But this kid is a kid, and he is developing. We're potentially a very, very dangerous team, but all of us, myself included, we have to sometimes keep our powder dry, take a deep breath, and see that, look, we've got children here, and they're going to make these mistakes, and they're going to have to learn, including the manager. The manager's young in terms of managerial posts, and relatively new to the position he's in: Premier League football, Champions League football, and a top high pressure club like Chelsea. So he's learning. The only thing he has to also learn is that with that job will come criticism, whether you like it or not, especially whenever you lose. That's the name of the game. You go to any top club anywhere in the world, and it's no different. Are you all sleeping, or you heard what I said?
We heard everything. You want it to be a fight before you believe we heard you?
We have to
Can you
have
say
our.
that again, Bobby, please? I didn't get all that.
The
Here's the thing:
coach
the
trying to.
48 hours coming for me, I think directed at the media. I think he's proven he knows how to deal with the fine, you could say, not sentiment, criticism. He expects that. He said, actually, yeah, that's football. When you lose, you get it. When you win, you get praises. I think that's directed at those with authority, like big name, you could say, journalists, not necessarily the fans. He's learned to deal with the fans. He didn't start today, even was when he wasn't the main guy. And in terms of our squad, I don't think we've regressed. And that's my opinion. You have every right to believe we've gone backwards. I don't think so. I think, if anything, the only thing
No,
that is
just
left, the
on
only
the
thing
just the
that
left
is left
wing.
to, you could say, to run its course is the integration process. When you have new players, 99%, because a lot of the times players do need time to properly integrate, to be at the same wavelength with their teammates. I think that's the only thing we need from Gittins and Ganato. That's not me saying they're polished players. They're still very young. But that doesn't mean, I disagree the manner at which you're putting it, as if we got kids from the academy. Those are experienced players. Ganacho, I think, has 100 plus Premier League games. And had he scored at least one of the goals that he had the opportunity to score yesterday, I don't think a lot of people will be having a go at him. The biggest problem is that he missed those chances. Just like in the case of Gusto, when he was playing, he didn't start operating the way he did yesterday. That yesterday wasn't the first time.
Coach, I
He's
must
been,
add this to your point.
yeah.
This elaborates my point, because the likes of Madueke, Jackson, and so on, part of their problem in the process of their development is this missing of chances, easy chances. So we have kind of gone back to that rather than stepped up from that. That's the point I'm making.
I mean, that's another way to say it. But I want to point out to you, I don't think we have enough or not enough sample size to look at that and say, dang it, we ought to be concerned. We're not quite there yet.
I
No,
I
it's
actually
not a
want to
matter
ask
of being
Bobby a
concerned.
question.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Bobby, you said you are actually putting 2 points, I think two different points. You did say that we are kind of going backwards in some certain areas, and then you also mentioned that fans need to be patient with particular players because of their age. But
Yeah.
if we are going backwards regularly, you're giving me a 19 or 20-year-old this year, and then you are going to sell him the next year, and you'll bring another one. Then how are fans supposed to be patient and not able to criticize?
Well, this is the frustration, isn't it? I find whenever I even so much as mention Noni Madueke or Jackson, because of the peculiarities around the way they left, I get shut down because I do think it could have been handled better if they had been shown a worth. I don't. This is just my opinion. I don't think they would have gone, but it's because with the new toys that came along, they were made to feel almost as if they were worthless. So they went to try and look for where they would, where they would feel comfortable, and massage their ego, which is
Come on,
really
Bobby.
a
There's no
footballer's.
chance Madueke felt worthless when he played every single game, basically. And
Monegi,
Jack,
and
Well,
we were
this is the
actually
thing.
annoyed that the manager overplayed him even
Well,
when he was
well,
SHIT on the pitch.
if I can continue, I mean, this is the thing. You're saying that there's no way he could have felt worthless when he was playing every single game. Yes,
No, I,
Jack-
I, I agree to
Jackson.
that sentiment.
Jackson was playing.
Sentiment. Go ahead,
Let,
Bobby.
let me land. Jackson was playing every single game, but where it came in was when new players came in. Instead of
Okay.
them to be told that, hey, look, I understand it. There was also some financial strategy involved in this as well. So, but if they were to stay, especially in the case of Jackson, instead of them to be told, hey, look, when you were being played game in, game out. Look what happened when you were injured. The club, it's not sustainable. You're now part of a rotational system and you will get time.
Okay. Can I
Um,
ask you
I
this?
think, I mean, it's just a supposition.
Can I
I
ask you this
think they
before I
would have
lose it?
stayed.
How are
he
you?
doesn't
Are
need to
you
be told in the first
certain? Are
place.
you certain that they didn't ask him that question? They didn't tell him that. There's no way to tell.
Well, now you're splitting hairs, aren't you? This is,
No, I'm not. You just
were
said
you,
you said
were you
instead of
told,
them to, as if they didn't. How do you know that they didn't tell him?
well, how do you know that they did?
So that's what my point is.
It's
I
the
don't think it
same.
makes sense to come to solve all. Here's the thing, Bobby. We're not fighting, but every time you
Well,
talk about this,
we
you
are, because
present it
every
in a
time.
manner that you are in a manner that comes across as if you're blaming the club for their departures.
Partly, I think it could
I
have
don't
been
think you have right to
better.
blame them.
Oh
No,
no, I have every
But
Jackson
right to
haven't come
blame.
out and
but
said the club told him you're not wanted anymore.
but
First of all, they
coach,
don't
you
need to be told absolutely nothing. They're professional players. You don't need to be told that. You know that there's competition coming in. It's very
And if you're
simple.
not able to, you can say to deal with the competition. Sometimes you bail. And that, in my opinion, you have every right to see it the way you see it, Bobby. I have every right to see it the way I feel like is the case. And I feel like he didn't want to compete. He wanted to be at Chelsea as the main guy,
Coach,
season in, season out. And
coach,
we
the
don't want that.
premise,
We're
the
Chelsea.
premise of my point, which is in response to Jay's question, is that the reason why I feel that we have decided to take a step back instead of embrace the step forward is because we've gone back to players who were at the developmental stage of both Jackson and Noni in the beginning of their time at Chelsea. And Jay's question was, well, maybe because of that, fans should criticize the club for what they've done. um, I can't argue with that, to be honest, because I've
João
been
Pedro.
criticizing them. I think no, João Pedro is a different gravy. I think his
I
loss of
have
form is due to injury, because
Well, that's
he
what
is
I'm trying to say. He's a replacement for Jackson as well, because he came in for that position basically as well.
not
So
really, not
much
really,
he's much more experienced than Jackson.
Look,
not
guys,
really.
I have argued it again and again that children with children will cause chaos. Children with some senior figures will bring stability and progression, which is not happening. And either you can say, I think we should put this question aside that whether they were ready for competition or not. We can agree that they were bad. They didn't really realize their potential or whatever they were asked from the club, right? So is it a fault of the players that they were not good? Maybe they were not really up to it. They were not really this. So it's you don't even allow.
I think we lost Jay.
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
Am I
But can we
back? Can
talk
you hear me?
about whether it's okay to just conclude that the players were
Jay's
pushed out?
back.
I don't think it's an accurate assessment in my opinion. Or accurate. The comment I think is it's not a. I don't think it's just justifiable to say they were pushed out.
Can
It's
you hear
not.
me, coach?
Oh, there you are.
Sorry.
You're back. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, look, my genuine or general question to you is if they were good players, then why are they not here? Right? And you don't allow the sporting directors to be criticized. To my eyes, these players have been uh, wrong investment, and hence they were sold, and hence we got new players. So there is a fault for sporting directors. These are You don't need replacement if you made good choices in the first place.
In Jackson case? Is it really correct to say we signed a replacement? We were always going to sign
No.
another striker, and we knew
Competition.
that
Yeah,
before the
we
transfer window. We
competition.
didn't want to
Yes.
one. We didn't want to have just a single striker and go through. You
Yeah.
could say the sort of situation we went through the season before.
Competition. Yes. Replacement.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. I think the plan
Agree.
was to get competition for him and not to replace him, irrespective of how everything you could say turned out or panned out, or maybe how the whole thing. What's the language I'm looking for? You know, the from his camp mainly releasing unnecessary statements. One of them, which I interpreted as being them not being happy that Jackson had to compete with someone else. They should just let him be the number one guy. I don't work for the club, but that's how I see the situation. And chances are that I'm wrong. But I don't. The fact that Chelsea at some point actually pushed for him to not leave, that I agree. After the lap got injured, showed that they never wanted him to leave, and he was out there. Whether you call it a brief or not, he was out there. That we're willing to keep him, and if he doesn't find a club to go to, then we're happy to reintegrate him until probably his agent start. You could say putting out the sort of messages we saw at the time, and him saying he doesn't want to come back to Chelsea ever. Maybe that was when Chelsea said, "Yeah, this guy, he's gone." No need to try to bring him back. So, Houston, I could be wrong, but I don't think it's okay to always phrase it in a way that sounds as if we're saying definitely the club was at fault. You say for allowing those players to leave.
And I
I'm
think
glad
Maresca would
that
have gladly had Jackson as an option
they
as
would
well.
have, yeah. And
So
because it makes us a lot, even that's enough to make us title contenders. As bad as he wasn't the worst.
he
Go
wasn't
ahead,
bad.
Dante. I
He's a
apologize.
good player, Jackson. He had pretty good numbers for his age and how new he was to Premier League. He had good numbers. He wasn't bad. He's never a bad player. He just lacked a couple of things in a couple of areas, but in a lot of areas he excelled in a lot of other areas. So yeah, look, he would have been very good, but he didn't. His camp, his people, they decided they're not staying. We've got in João Pedro, we got in Liam Delap, we got two more competition players to compete for that position. João Pedro lit it up at the Club World Cup, deservedly so. He did amazingly. Well, Jackson didn't want to stay and compete with those two. Simple as that. And that's the same with Noni. Esteval was coming in. Esteval was winning man of the match everywhere at Club World Cup, playing well. He's coming in. Gittins is coming in.
And to be clear, that is just your theory. That's just your opinion on
Yeah.
what you believe happened. There are
What
other ways to see it. You can see it from the perspective of other players getting the pay rise and him not getting any. Because in this case, it's difficult to actually argue that the club pushed him out. Maresca
well you
loved him.
can't
The
you
club
can't you can't ask
loved
for a
him. Go
pay raise
ahead.
when you don't perform. I mean, that's pretty clear. You're not going to get a pay raise if you don't perform. They're rewarding players that are performing and
But
exceeding
And
expectations,
performed
you know,
consistently.
but we
consistently for the
can
whole
but we can also
seasons.
agree
Correct.
that that was not the only case. They were also not performing. We were all criticizing them because they were
Exactly. He
not
Yeah,
wasn't
we
performing
agree.
winning.
We
either.
agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they were not that type of player that we all thought, right? They were mids, if I want to use that term. And hence why
Well,
look, my whole
yeah.
thing is the way we defend the sporting director and excuse them of any blame is comical when there are
That's not true.
evidence of
That
players
is
or
not true. Of
signings which has been flawed and hence they have been
course
sold
there
and
is.
we are forced to sign new
And
players.
do you want me to explain why I've refused to like direct if I feel like we signed and of which I don't feel like we signed any bad player. I think it depends on how you want to see it. The reason I've excluded them, just using the term you used, is because any player that comes in and becomes part of the first team is because Maresca said yes. If Maresca said no, it's not going to work. I don't think they signed the player. And I think Maresca is that sort of character that if he doesn't want you, he doesn't want you, and he will make it public irrespective of what the owners say, especially now. I'd say even before that transfer window, especially just after winning the Club World Cup, winning the UEFA Conference League, and you can say helping us finish in the top four. I think at the time, probably yeah, it'd be easy for him to say, no, I don't want this player. I want the other player. And you'd argue that the club probably will listen to him because he's proven to them I'm the man for the job. So I don't want to waste my time or energy having to go at the directors. The same thing I said when Chelsea signed Lukaku, of which I knew at the time was a mistake because I knew Thomas Tuchel from his days at Mainz, Dortmund, PSG, where I know him having a traditional number 9, you're wasting time. And Lukaku thrives when he's made the main guy. And at Chelsea, I knew Thomas Tuchel wouldn't do that. I told HH when I think during we made a video, that time we were doing, still producing the series called Scouting for Chelsea. I think I told Ishan the same thing. They said, I think what HH told me was that Lukaku probably better than Timo Werner at the time. But I was concerned given the way I knew the manager likes to approach the game. So, but I didn't slate the owners. I didn't slate Marina at the time because Thomas Tuchel said yes to the signing of Lukaku. So any player that's part of the squad, I will not slate the sporting directors.
Especially when it's their job.
When
They've
it's
been
their
asked
job, and the manager
to get those type
and
of players.
irrespective of how the club operates, they don't agree to sign any player if the manager says no, I cannot work with this player, especially any player that you see as part of the first team squad. But go ahead, Dante.
Yeah, exactly. And the sporting directors have their job. They've been given who to sign, age bracket, talent, where they are. That they've got a brief, and they're just following what they were told to do, and that's what they're doing. They're signing the players for the future that have got a massive upside, because that's the project. That's what they've been asked to do. Now we can judge them after. I think they've done a great job doing that. We can judge them after if they're asked to sign proper players that are ready to go, that are world-class players. Well, then we can judge them different after that. But for what they've been asked to do, I think they've done a very good job, in my personal opinion. So, are they perfect? No. Have we criticized them? Yes. Of course, we're going to criticize them. They haven't got everything right,
yeah.
but when it's such a high volume, you're not going to get right. But I think overall, they've done a very good job with outgoings and incomings. I think they've done actually very well for what they've been asked to do so far. So, it's not true that we don't criticize them. I do criticize them sometimes, but you got to look at why. So, yeah.
And here's something an important point you made here. I'm glad you and I are ganging up against Jay. Here's the thing. They're doing their job. There's a blueprint for the project that they have to follow. That's another aspect, another way to see it. That's one. The second layer, another layer, I don't know whether to put that as a second layer or the first layer, is that they will not sign any player for the first team without Maresca consenting to the signing. It's really that simple.
And it's pretty clear and evident. Delap,
Yeah.
Maresca.
And he said
Delap.
openly, we work together. I think he at one point did say something to the effect of, if any player comes in, it's because I agreed. If you say, if we get into the argument,
yeah.
if the argument is, why didn't we sign another player? Then that's a general question, which I
Guys,
can
sorry,
say.
I have to drop. I have a phone call
Okay,
coming
Bobby.
in.
Well, that's
How
and
João
a debate
Pedro.
that I say, yeah, it's good to
João Pedro
ask
is another one he
why didn't
wanted.
we sign one more player? But I don't want to get into the argument of why we signed a certain player. If we ask that question, the manager should be answering that question too, because he okayed the signing.
So Maresca's definitely had a hand in all of them. I
Yeah.
can tell you that now because they're all Maresca players. Gittins, the type of winger he is.
I
Gennacho.
wish Jay comes on to the panel every day. He asks questions that you can say lead to good debate, and I like it, even though I don't like him.
Yeah,
I
I
just
mean
want
it's
to.
opinions, but
I
yeah, I
would
mean
I would like to add on Dante's comment that they have been told to do so. Well, that is then blame shifting. Then you are pointing at the owners that they have been doing bad. Well, we don't have any personal issues with the sporting director. Whoever is employed or have been told to, or maybe has been the brainchild of this
yeah.
policy of trial and error, which is not good. My thing is the trial and error policy is not really good for the club. Maybe in the current, right? We have been talking about the future for 3 years now, but in the current, we are not really challenging for the title, which is the main goal. And
Are we
there has
moving
been,
forward? Are we improving? Have we
yes,
every
we have
year
been, but
been
we were told about 4 windows, and that 4 windows have been gone. I don't know how
No,
many.
no, no, no. It's not 4 windows, Jay. It's 5 years.
It
They
was
said it
briefed. It was
clearly.
briefed 4 windows.
It was briefed. Simon Phillips and Max Law Max. They said that 4 windows. It's not
Here's
four
what I want to
windows.
go with. Here's what I go. I want to go with what
4 windows
uh
is only 2 years.
yeah, I want to go with what what's his name, Todd Bowley himself said. I think it
Exactly.
was it in New Zealand during an interview. And I've always known that that's the case, and I've never been in a hurry. And I think Ty will remind you, and every other person that I've listened to me talk about the project. I'm not okay with everything they've done. I think they've made mistake, and a lot of mistakes actually. But
Yeah, of
I don't
course.
think it was in papers, and I don't think anybody here on the panel thinks the mistakes they've made were on papers. Heston, I've always known that they want to do is they want to build something. They want to build, you can say, something that will help them achieve sustainable success. I think that's accurate. They want to dominate consistently. They don't want their success to be in patches. I've always known that's the case. And I've always said publicly that at the time, but now I'm no longer that concerned. We have issues. We're not perfect. We talk about the issues. But at the time, I was saying that I was concerned about the immediate future, but that I'm quite sure that the long term future will be so bright that people will need glasses to look at it. And it looks like Christmas came in January in terms of with regards to the progress, to the measure of progress we've made where I think we're maturing quicker than I had expected. And the fact that we
Yeah.
won the Conference League, the Club World Cup, the Conference League, a lot of people thought that's it, that Betis would definitely win it because Maresca isn't good enough to measure up to former Manchester City manager, his former boss too. I know one content creator that's a good friend of mine that put out the post on X says he's going to mop the floor. That's it. We're not winning it. But we won it and won it in style. Club World Cup, nobody gave us a chance. And the two trophies for me changed a lot in terms of mentality from the perspective of the players' growth. We're not quite there yet, which was why I told people we're not winning the league this season. Maybe next season we can compete. But I don't think we'll regress. I think we're making progress, and I'm okay with the progress because I've always known that,
No,
yeah,
no,
it might take a few years. But
And
coach,
I
that's the
think
plan. The
that
coach.
plan's always
year
been next year.
that year for the league, for me, definitely next season will be in that conversation.
And
Go
Maresca
ahead,
said that in
Dante.
an interview, and the owners have said that. I mean, it's been planned. The plan was for next year. We're actually 1 year ahead, so the plan was for next year to start doing that. So,
And they want to dominate and dominate consistently. They don't want to just win one here. If you heard him speak, you'd know that he's not content with the Club World Cup and the Conference League. And the language they use is that they're not carried away.
Mm. Look, I agree, and I don't think Bobby or me, I can talk about me, so, never said that we are in a disaster or we are going
No, I didn't
through.
say you. No, 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 no. You never
Yeah,
said that, Jay.
I
You
think there
never.
has been good things and bad things. My only concern is that it should be a fair assessment. The sporting directors are, maybe I'm not directing it towards you, towards the general fan base. sometimes they get very defensive. While I don't even agree with Dante's statement that they have been really good. I think it's a case of 50-50. There has been bad investments and there has been good investment. And we are moving towards a sustainable future, you can say. But then we can also understand the frustration of the fans because the trial and error method that is one of the methods going on can be a little bit frustrating for the players when you are shifting Madueke and then to Garnacho, who both are raw and who are both poor at finishing. So the fans' frustration can be justified, and we cannot really, blame them too much because this is the method that they are using. So fans are kind of justified to show their frustration.
The question I want to ask you, Jay, is: do we really have enough sample size to say that definitely we haven't signed better players than we had? I don't think so. I think, can we look at Madueke's numbers, his first few months as a Chelsea player, how many goals and assists he has?
His
He
numbers are
had,
actually poor,
and
coach.
look at Gittins' case. I get it. He's not. You could say he struggled in games, in certain games, but compare.
Then you agree, right? Then you agree. No, no, I'm not saying that Gittins is a poor
No,
signing.
I never
What I'm
said you
saying is
said.
Madueke was
We're
a poor
referencing.
investment. Hence, you
We're
had
talking
to
about the
improve.
general fans'
It wasn't a poor
perception,
investment, Jay.
yeah, of the
Maresca wasn't a
players.
poor
So
investment.
I'm saying,
It was
wouldn't
a
it make?
poor investment. His numbers were not good at all. At what? Yes, I mean, I know what you're saying. You're saying financially, right? Yeah, they gained money on him and they made a profit on him. But that's not a fact that I'm concerned as a fan. The money is not getting in my pocket, so I'm not really concerned whether they're making profit or not. I'm not
Yeah,
going
of
to
course.
discuss that.
But even the profit argument that they're making, the fans are making, I think we're starting to see less and less of that. I think that's one of you can say it doesn't make any sort of sense. What
Yeah,
sort of profit after spending? Let's assume if the plan is to sell players and make profits, we spent how much we spent. How many players are you going to sell to? You could say break even, let alone make profit.
We have
You'd
seen
have to
no
sell the
evidence. We've
entire
seen
squad.
zero evidence of them trying to
Exactly.
sell
Even if
good
you sell the
players
entire
to make
squad
a
to break
profit.
even would be difficult. Why? Because the salary alone is a lot of money. Because signing the player is just the beginning of the whole thing. There's also weekly salary of the player. So the argument that people were making at the time that yeah, they're just here for profit. What profit? From what aspect? You get the idea. They've not been perfect, and Jay, I think we all agree. But I
yeah.
like the sort of topics we discuss here. I think it helps educate fans and sometimes make them realize I think they're making the wrong argument. The profit
Yeah,
argument doesn't move.
I think we are in agreement now.
Mhm.
My thought was that the spoken directors should be criticized and they
Oh
shouldn't be,
yeah,
out
oh
of
yeah.
blame
The owners too.
completely out of blame, which we
Yeah.
are all agreeing that yeah, they have made good things and they have made some bad things.
Of course, they're not. They're human. They're not going to, especially so much turnover. You're not going to get it correct, all of it. But I still hold, in my personal opinion, that they've done actually overall. If you look at the body of work they've done and what they were asked to do and the type of players they were asked to sign, I think it's more than 50-50. I think they've done a very good job
I'd
in
go with more than 50-50. I'd go with more than
Okay.
50-50 because even if we're looking
Let's
at the players that you can say that moved on, let's say the one that's playing alongside Cristiano Ronaldo, it's not like he's a bad player. I wanted him to stay, but the manager preferred all the profiles over him. Um, there's you can say I haven't seen bad signing in terms of all those young players. I think it's really difficult for people to move on from their mistakes because at the start we were signing established players, and I think they did look at it and realize that that wasn't going to be sustainable. And I'm glad we changed path. Did you hear
yeah.
how much in debt Manchester United are right now? Have you heard that? Billions in debt. I know a lot of people won't talk about that because it's not Chelsea. So my point is, and I think I agree with Dante. I think their success is more than 50%. It depends on who you ask.
Okay,
Um,
let's coach, let's agree on 60-40, right?
that's fine. 60-40
Okay.
consider, but here's the thing. The point
I'd go
is,
higher than that.
Jay, I like the sort of question you ask, and I like it when one of our panelists asks question. It's a thought-provoking questions. I like that, and that's the sort of conversation I like to have. The point I'm trying to make in terms of Bobby generalizing that we've lost. You could say, I think he actually um he did, you could say, the definition of how he's of late he changed how he phrased it. He was just going that, yeah, we've regressed. He didn't specifically before say we didn't have better players because we were starting afresh. But in my opinion, I don't think so. Ganache has 100 plus. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dante. A
Yeah, yeah,
Premier League
yes,
experience under his belt, and that's huge. And he's not been as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. But he's that one player with a lot of eyes on him. And I think he's done really, really well. And had we been more clinical in front of goal, he should have twice as much as the assist numbers he has right now, if he has any. There was one, it was for Cole Palmer. I think on 2 occasions he's created clear-cut chances for Cole Palmer, but he didn't take it.
yeah. They should
And
have high
Gittins,
numbers.
he's created a lot of good chances for us.
Yeah,
It's a matter
Yeah.
of time. I think the only issue, which I'm willing to be patient for, the integration process is still hasn't been that straightforward due to a lot of changes, which has led to reduced minutes for the new signings, and they're not yet properly integrated. I think by the time they get properly integrated and be on the same wavelength with their teammates, especially Gittins, an excellent signing given his record at the time as one of top 1% dribblers world football. I'm happy we signed him over the Ghanaian Spanish kids that we didn't, you can say, doesn't want to leave his Atletico club, what's it called, Bilbao. We just need time. We
they
don't
need
have
time. Yeah.
enough sample size to conclude those you can say the wrong signings. Even if you compare them, compare Gittins to Noni Madueke, I think he still has Noni Madueke scored a brace the other day and has I think in total now 3 Champions League goals. Even at that, Gittins he's
It
had a
doesn't
better
matter. He
season
wasn't
than
even
him so
started
far.
against the.
Yeah, go ahead.
It doesn't matter about Madueke. He wasn't even, given any minute against Wolves in the Premier League match. So even his manager doesn't rate him that well.
And he's had nothing in 10 games. He did nothing, 0 assists, 0 goals, nothing in first 10 games. Yeah. So look, Madueke is not a loss, like you said. He was good, but he didn't want to stay and
Hardly ever
compete.
consistent.
Yeah, he's gone, and forget about him. We've got Gennacho in. You can argue Gennacho is actually more experienced than Madueke. So Giddens has played just the same amount of games in Europe and everywhere as well. So, I understand what you're saying, Jay. That you and a lot of the fan base, they want a world class player, ready to go. It's just not what the project is at the moment. So we have to wait for that. We still got to
Go
wait for
ahead.
that a bit more.
Yeah.
And the
No,
positives
I
for the
agree. I
project.
agree.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
No, I agree, and I appreciate the conversation. As for you and Bobby Coach, I think you two just don't get along. That's simple fact.
No, Bobby is a bro. I just like,
Just kidding.
listen, and I think he understands if we all agree that something is wrong. And I like the perspective he brings to the table, which leads to us discussing something that a lot of our viewers will learn from. But here's something that I want us to talk about quickly,
It just
Jay.
makes it sound like it's the definite. It makes it sound to be like it's the definite that option, and there was no other option. And that's what I think Coach is not happy with the way he talks about it. It sounds like it comes across that this was what happened, and this is how it happened. This is how it must have happened. And
And
yeah,
I know Bobby wouldn't want to, you can say, blame the club on the can say the departure of those players and the club, but you can say unknowingly doing it by the way he presents his argument, because it
exactly.
to
sounds
That's
to
what
as
I
be
if
mean.
they
honest,
were
Yeah.
pushed out.
to be honest, he was actually going on a positive tone today. It was me who asked him a question and
No, because we won.
changed.
And something I want us to talk about, and Choma, I see you in the chat. I'll get to your comments in a bit. I appreciate you. Nice to see you again. I hope you're enjoying the holiday period. And as any people would say, "Neke I do hope you're doing well. Let's talk about this gentleman for a bit. I think I want us also. I don't know what other player I'd like us to look at their numbers on the day. The project, I think the reason for the path we've decided to take our goal is down to the way football has changed from a financial perspective. Because these days, you don't spend because you have it. Irrespective of how much you have as an entity or a football club, there are limits to how you can spend. So I think the owners realized that and realized that signing established big name players wasn't something that was it will not be sustainable. It will not be sustainable. You can say, look at Barcelona where they are. They're only good at signing free agent players. And I think Madrid, their case not closed because they have a huge source of income that's helped them navigate that issue. I think when
And
they
they've signed
started
only
doing that, I
20-year-olds as well.
realized that they were being proactive. And a lot of clubs are copying the model right now, but probably too late for some because we exploited a lot loophole at the time that you can say allowed us the independence of tying players down with a very very long term contract. But like, let's hear you, Dante. I think they've been proactive, and I think we're gonna reap the benefits eventually.
Yeah, we've been very proactive, ahead of the curve of a lot of other teams. But the big but is there. We are still not. We are a big club, but we're not a big club financially in terms of stadium revenue, and as in like those other big clubs like Man United you were mentioning. They will always still have that extra power to pay a bit more and do it a bit more because their revenue incomes and streams are much different from ours. Now, this is what this new ownership is trying to change around now to do it, to make it legally do that. We probably did that under Roman, but we did a lot of illegal stuff as well. So trying to do that legally the way it's changed, yes. So it is a challenge to do that. And the only way you can do that in modern football these days is the way they've gone about it. We're not Manchester United to do it like that, and even they have changed their model and they're changing it as well now as well. And like you said, Real Madrid, they only signed, they signed players, but they signed Huijsen, 20 years old, 21. The other Masternato that came in 19. They've only signed young players, all of them.
And then for
So
more
it is,
experienced players, they're looking for free agents mainly.
if not, they're free agents who then they don't have to pay any money through, and then they can actually get a good quality player as a free agent. That's the only other way they've been going out about it as well. So even for them, it's changed quite a bit. But yes, especially for us, we're a big club, but in terms of that financial side, revenue and we're not that big because we're just not. We can be if we had a bigger stadium and very different, but we can't do that at the moment. And that is what they're trying to change. They're trying to get that going. It's going to take a long time, obviously. It's not an easy solution. But in the meantime, we're very much ahead of the curve in the way we were able to spend, how we were able to, spend our funds, where the funds came from. They were ahead of everyone. So you got to, give them credit for that. Business-wise, they've done extremely well. And it just sets us up for a better future as well.
Yeah, and just quickly, Cole Palmer and the man for aka Cole Palmer, I think you're overthinking it. Jay, your thoughts on whether we're being proactive? I know you understand the reason
Yeah.
why they changed from signing experienced players to all of a sudden signing younger, up and coming players, but you could argue they've been good at snatching up. You can say signing the best up and coming talents, actually. But your thoughts? Do you think it? How do you see it? I want to get your view on that.
Yeah, look, definitely it's a good strategy, and this is the demand of this current day and age, and it is obvious we are seeing this being popular among other clubs as well, and it will get only uh, much more on a multi levels of clubs. This will happen more and more, and we have been the starter of kind of this process. So I understand that this is the need, this was the ask, and this is going to be the future. This is how it's going to happen, and we are doing good. I have mentioned it. We have signed some of the really good players as well. So this is the strategy, and we are good at it. But again, if in the same age bracket, in the same salary cap, there can be some better decisions as well. For example, there is Hugo Ekitike, right? They scouted him. They were after him a lot. I wanted him. but they chose not to go after him, and he's balling out now. So it's a matter of
I
decision
mean,
now.
the
It's
price
not a
tag,
matter of
really.
whether
I
young
think the
or old.
price tag.
It's a matter of
You know, signing a Kitika would have meant we wouldn't have signed, you could say, players in other areas. But
it can
I
happen,
mean, I
but
love
again,
the Kitika. I wanted us to
that
sign
is
him, but I think, yeah, go ahead.
He, that is their call. They are doing their job. They have been deployed to do their job. They should have been more judicious or planned, funds accordingly to sign him because they were after him. It's not my demand. They scouted him and he was really good. He would have been perfect for us in that, center forward role. But anyways, that's what I'm saying. It's not the problem is not with the process of youngsters in a limited salary cap. The process, some of the faults is better decision making in choosing who to sign and who not to sign. We have spent 110 or 20 millions on that left wing. So I'm not arguing with the age. I'm arguing with some of the decisions.
No, no, I totally understand, honestly. I totally understand. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. I appreciate you all finding time to join the conversation. And Choma, it's been a minute, Choma. I hope you're good. I hope things are okay on your end. As Enugu girls will say at the time, Nick F1. And please, if you're celebrating your birthday today, or if you have a family member who is celebrating their birthday today, colleague, let us know so we can, pop the balloons for them. And Chama says, Kachi, how are you doing? I have been missing the show. Yeah, I understand, probably because you've been busy. I hope that's the case. If that's not the case, please do let me know. Always nice to see you, Norma. I appreciate you, my sister. Let's see. And here's Nemaya running with the theory that Maresca has fallen out with the sporting directors because of the 48 hours comment. For me, I don't think it makes any sort of sense to try to, say that he's having a go at the hierarchy. No, if that's the case, you'd hear it from him. Without Pice says what? I don't listen to everything they say. What else do we have here? Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. I appreciate you all finding time to join the conversation. Maresca's statement and KDH tells me he didn't have much to say in that transfer. Why is that an issue? Do you think KDH would have loved to remain at Chelsea when he was basically a bit part player? And what comment are you you have to be specific so not to get me to try to work out what you're saying. I'm not sure what you're saying. Roman Abramovich don't deserve a bit of criticism for Lukaku signing. You could say that. Rumors at the time was that his son was the one that wanted the club to sign Lukaku, but I don't care. More importantly, Thomas Tuchel said yes. That's all that matters for me. For Chelsea to win the league, we need a consistent centre back partnership, a good goalie, a proper striker. Reece James, it doesn't have to be consistent. Consistent maybe know what pairing comes in and what pairing makes way, just to rest them and not overplay them if we're participating in multiple competitions, and not just to, you could say, tinker with the pairings. I mean, you can have multiple pairings, but in our case, I think we've tinkered a lot, and down to the issues we've had, not because the manager did it at those times on papers, because he had to. Injuries didn't help matters. Let's see, front of shot sponsor. I don't know. They say one is about to happen, and that's of no, for me, no big deal for me. And here's something else you have to learn that will get you to not pay attention to a lot of stuff the Junos say, especially the ex-Junos. Even shockingly, Jan himself, I think Jan himself will realize it was a mistake to have, you could say, give me 1 second here. So Jan talked about how a supposed front of shop sponsor that we were on the verge of signing an agreement with had to sign with Arsenal as a sleeve sponsor. When I said that, I didn't believe it. It turns out it was all absolute horse dung, But so let's not teach you something. And I see somebody in the chat there. Who was it? Somebody in the chat saying that said something about something to the effect of what was it? Chelsea telling the Crystal Palace manager not to sign another contract Do you know who's that from? Fichajes. I call them Fichajes IT. Absolute horse dung news. And if you
Or the
think,
KFC guy.
yeah, exactly, or the KFC guy, that one, that, yeah, a lot of people are saying they blame, what's his name, the big name, English,
David Owen.
English,
David Ornstein.
David Austin, for propping him. Now he's gaslighting people however he wants. What else do we have here? Madik wanted Arsenal. He was not forced to leave, exactly. And I think we heard a lot more from the transfer guru himself, in Fabrizio Romano, who said, yeah, he got a call and wanted to join Arsenal, and probably that was why we didn't see, you can say, much of him during the Club World Cup. Dante, you want to add to that?
Yeah, pretty much spot on, coach. That's why we didn't really see him at the Club World Cup too much, because of that. So I think he already knew he's going. Probably Maresca knew he's going as well. So, we then started to start talking to Giddens after that. So, yeah, look, it is what it is. He wanted to leave. He didn't want to stay and compete. Could be down financial reasons. Could be he didn't to continue with at Chelsea. He wanted a different path, and it is what it is. He's good luck. He does. Not too fussed about it, because I completely tore it up for us. So, not too big of a loss in my personal opinion. We replaced him with Esteval. I think most fans would agree that Esteval, even though much younger, is probably even better than Noni even now, probably. So yeah, it's not too big of a loss as well. So in my opinion. Oh, coach is not there. Jay, what do you think? Would you choose Esteval currently over Noni?
100%. Look, I was not impressed with Noni. I had my criticism over him, and I had zero, regret of why we sold him or not. I think if if the current players are not good enough, that even if the current players are not good enough, that doesn't mean that Noni should come back or he was good. I don't do that revisionism. I think Jackson and Noni both were not good enough for Chelsea. They could have done better, and hence I don't regret them. I think we got good money for Noni, and I think obviously Estevao is clear upgrade on him. Maybe next year we will see more evident results of that.
Yeah, you know my choice, Dante. No need to answer that question. And we didn't hate Noni. We didn't slate him. We criticized him. We, at the time, looked at the way he applies himself on the pitch and realized, I mean, he could be a lot less selfish and a lot more selfless to become a much better player. And in your case, you always, at the time, you mentioned always how he doesn't look up. You could argue that to some extent has changed at Arsenal. That's because probably they knew that was the area where he needed to change things to become a much better player. But I'm not forced. I wasn't concerned that,
Well, he
yeah,
hasn't changed, coach, because he hasn't got any assists. He didn't have any assists at all. So
you could argue. And
in
do you
games,
not
no
remember
assists.
when we talked about that he did that at the time? I think it was a year before he left. Actually, we talked about how he does come across like the sort of player that, yeah, probably will leave after the arrival of Estavo. And you could argue that was
We did,
exactly what
yeah.
happened.
We did
Yeah,
talk about
and
that.
he has a habit of inflating emotions among fan bases by one or two performances. Remember that Wolves match? I think
Well,
that
that
is
was the
fifty
only one,
percent of his
basically. He
The
scored
hat
that
trick,
is
80%
fifty
of
right?
his
percent
goals in that
GA
one
at
game.
Chelsea.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And we
And not
have
and
Kule Kuku. Kule, nice to see you, Kuk Badu. It's been a minute, Bon. How are you doing? He says the project is based on sustainability and the club is doing well so far. Sure, there's consequences before attaining stability. Every big club go through this. Football is a business, first of all. Yeah, if you don't make money, then the club will, yeah, probably, you could say, die, for lack of a more specific, you can say relatable term or specific, accurate term maybe, but you get it. Do you want Victor Jokic? I wanted him at Chelsea, and chances are, if he was at Chelsea, he'd be better off. I don't know. I wanted Simmons. and Simmons is starting to pick up form right now. But I think he'd be, you can say, better utilized given the way Maresca likes to approach the game. Yeah. Let's see. Richmond Maker says, "I'm back. The SDs hasn't done excellent job." Okay, they treated Trevor Chalobah like SS. Can I say this? Let's talk about the Trevor Chalobah's case in a bit. Remember it after sell players for the UEFA deal. Pedro Neto was being discussed, being sold by our best SDs, and you heard also that there were offers, but we didn't want to sell them. So, which should we believe? The one that actually happened, or the one that didn't happen? Even from Fabrizio Romano, that there were offers, but
Ornstein
we didn't
said
want
it.
to
No,
sell. Here's something else.
Ornstein.
What's that particular comment I want to talk about here? I think the problem was that before the arrival, I think it was before the arrival of Axel de Sissi, right? We started hearing in the media that if we sign the Sissi, that Trevor Chalobah is going to leave. And I don't think that emerged out of nowhere. Even if it did, he saw it and it got to him. And then the club weren't actively looking to sell him. What happened was Bayern came calling. Bayern under Thomas Tuchel came calling. And he indicated he wants to join them. Yeah, he indicated he wanted to join them. The only reason he didn't end up leaving at the time was that the club wanted, okay, if you're going to leave, it has to be on a permanent. We're not open for a loan deal. So I people just, you could argue, for me, I don't think it's okay to just blame the club. That's how I see it. I don't work for the club, but that's how I see it, because yeah, he wanted to join Bayern according to what we heard at the time. But the club said, if you want to go, it has to be on a permanent. And yeah, why did they put them on the chopping block? Because of that, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
that
I don't know,
a bit of
D'Angelo,
that,
your thoughts.
a bit of that, and a bit of, like I kept saying, he was one of the a little bit more mature, just wasn't playing consistently, doing it consistently. So it was they might, this is one of those examples, they might have thought they're upgrading on those players that were coming in. Unfortunately, those players did not. This Sassi didn't turn out that way, and even Buddy Shield, probably you can say that they haven't turned out that way. Now that's it happened. It happened. They're wrong. He was still a Chelsea player. He did end up going on loan to Crystal Palace, where he played some games and then had really bad games, like 3 goals leading to errors. So he came back, and you got to give him credit. He's done well. He's dug in. He's a professional, and he's done very well. You got to give him credit for that. But the club did absolutely nothing wrong, in my opinion. I don't see nothing. We didn't treat him bad. Have you heard Trevor Chalobah say anything bad about the club?
It's
I don't
just the
think he would.
fans.
He would not be back at Chelsea if that was the case. He would have wanted to move and be
That's an
sold.
excellent point. I don't like you, but I like that part where you say he wouldn't accept coming back had they treated him badly.
Exactly. It's just business. Like we say, it's business. He obviously understood it, and they went for other options instead of him. He stayed as Chelsea player. He went on loan to Crystal Palace. He stayed in London. He got a good move, but he wouldn't have come back to Chelsea if that was the case. That was never going to happen. A player doesn't come back if he's disrespected, and they just don't at that level. They don't. He would have had plenty of options if he really wanted to. Any mid-table, any other team, Crystal Palace, for example, or any better team would have him as depth. He could go many places if he really wanted to leave. So I don't think that's the case. He would have left if that was the case.
Yeah, Jay, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I want to add that I also don't like Dante.
Thank you. I like that part. I like that one very, very well. Okay, you're back. Okay, thank you. And yeah, of course, Prophet of Doom is here. Uh, in Vic says 1.7 billion spent over 4 years. Their internal revenue projection is insane. It is impossible to scale without winning major trophies, and I think they know that. And a bigger stadium or selling players. Selling players is part of it, but I don't think they're in the business of selling our best players. They want to keep our best players. But if any best player pushes to leave, they'd have no option than to find a good business. You can say find a way to let you sell that player in a manner that they can make a lot of profit. So yeah, I agree. I can't believe I'm actually simply agreeing with you, really. But nice to see you. Sorry that I haven't reached out to see how you doing, my bro. I do hope you're doing well, and thank you for finding the time to join the conversation. And Rich Moneymaker says, I fully agree with Jay. The SDs are not done a good job. Okay. I speak to a lot of people. I don't make things up. Nope. Stop. Just who said, who said you're making things up? Todd wanted more experienced players. Ibal wanted kids. How do you know that? That aspect. The latter part of your comment, how do you know? Yeah, you don't. You just thought that was the case, and I think a lot of people believe that's the case because that's what big accounts tell them. I wanted a Kitike. I wanted a Kitike too, but I realized that at some point in the season we weren't that interested. I think he will improve eventually. He's actually done really well at Liverpool.
And I think some people need to accept he maybe did not want to come to Chelsea.
That's a possibility, but we didn't really push.
Liverpool just won the Premier League. There's people think we can sign every single player and forget that there's other teams and other big teams. Yes, we are Chelsea. We're big. We're strong. We're good. We're attractable, but not always. Not every time. A lot of players just have different preferences. It's simple as that. Even though we want them, it doesn't matter if we want. There's so many players we wanted. All the young players that PSG bought, all those really good players, we wanted all those players.
Yep,
We were
from
I
linked.
think
Barcola to
initially,
yeah.
I think in the initial part of the window, he was interested and he was very much open to coming to us. As also Liverpool were dilly-dallying over, both Ekitike and Isak. So
Exactly, yeah.
obviously he do. So there was a time where we had our chances, but yeah, what's
But he
gone is
chose
gone.
Liverpool in the end.
In the end, yes.
Yes, and good morning to you, to a lot of people. Mesole Jude, my bro. I appreciate you finding the time to join the conversation. Probably, I think we'll most definitely extend messages for Christmas. But nice, it's crazy that we haven't spoken for a while. Your birthday is coming soon. Just let us know on that day so that we can pop balloons for you, Chama, and celebrate you. Much love to you, my sister. I appreciate you. And he says, I repeat, he said, we need to keep Pedro. Nobody's planning to sell Pedro Neto. If he leaves tomorrow, it's because probably he wants to leave. Numbers show he's our top performing players this season. The SDs have done average job. We lose Matt Correa, then sign 18-year-old, lack of experience. We need to sign some ready-made players. Okay. And Kunle Kuku here says it's about three and a half years. CFC will have multiple players that would be competing for Ballon d'Or. Further consistency will follow with lots of trophies. Yeah. Again, the players are maturing, and even I'm happy how far we've come in terms of how the current crop of players have matured. Let's see. Our coach has done an excellent job with the young team. We have a lot of money. We can pay high wages. The SDs have made mistakes with some of the recruitments. Okay. Let's see. Big up to you two in the H place, not me. Jude is asking what is your interpretation of Maresca's complaints of a lack of support? I don't think it is the club. I don't think so. And I just don't understand how people can listen to that and say he's definitely talking about the SDs. I don't think so, really. Yeah, and please stop talking about front of shirt sponsor until it happens. I'm not concerned about that. But that 48 hours comment, I think it's more like what the press are saying. And before he stole them, what was the F word, the F bump he used as the way he said it?
Yeah,
I
look,
can't quite remember.
he's already called out those guys before.
Yeah,
So
so definitely them, not even the fans. I think he knows that the fans will always have opinions, especially if we lose or if we win. He knows that. I think the press he direct that 48 hours comments is directed at the, like I said, at the press, not the hierarchy. I don't think he'd do that.
No, he wouldn't, and specifically the Chelsea press.
Yeah, yeah. Why would he? He's not that stupid.
And that's why he said straight away after, he's saying there that he clearly said it's not the fans. No, he didn't say, he never made such a statement that it's clearly not the fans. He just said after that, he was asked the fan, goes, I love the fans. They've been good. But that just shows, it's in a way, it's indirectly to the fans because it's through the Chelsea press that happened. There's a lot of the fans, but he's not going to ever say that directly, that it's the fans. There's no way. And like people have been saying, he's not going to do that. He's an honest guy. He's straight up. He'll just say it's the sporting directors or the owners. He doesn't care. He would just say it if that was the case. So no, I don't think. I can't say for 100% sure, but in my personal opinion, from what I see, how I see things, it's definitely at that press, mostly directed to the press, and it's precisely to the Chelsea press, especially the way they've been
That's how
talking
I
about
see
Dante,
it too. It just doesn't make
Dante,
sense. Yeah,
coach.
go ahead.
Let's assume hypothetically if it was to the sporting directors or for the sporting directors. Do you think that's a bad thing?
It'd be a bad thing because he has access to
course, because
them.
they work together.
Yeah.
They're on the same
Yeah, so
page. That's the
we all
thing.
agree that if that's the case, then that is not a good thing, and that can actually
Ooh, he's taking a huge
cause
risk.
some. Yeah,
Of
I
course,
don't think
yeah,
it.
that's
If anything, from what I've observed so far, is that he has a good relationship with them.
yeah,
yeah,
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah, this is no what we're hearing now is no different from the sort of things we start hearing about the dressing room issues every time we lose games, and the players, you could say, on the pitch look as if you say they
yeah,
sulk or they're disinterested. People start interpreting that as that, yeah, there are we have
and
dressing room issues.
and
Just there was a time they started arguing that they weren't playing for Maresca.
yeah, and
who
most
wrote
probably
that
Maresca will clear out things in the post match before Cardiff.
I think he will, since it's become, you could say, since it's been, you could
Yeah,
say, taken out of context. I think he will.
He won't. He
Yeah.
won't because he
this
can't.
Sorry?
He can't say it clearly out. He won't be able to
No, I think
make.
he will address if it
address like
becomes, if it
it has happened in the past
continues to
that
be interpreted like as him having issues with the hierarchy or him having to go at the fans. I think probably the club will make him say something about it just to put it to bed.
We'll
yeah, it
see.
has happened in the past as well
It
that
has, yeah.
whenever he said something in the press and it was interpreted as something else, and then he will just come forward and clear things out.
He cleared it up, yeah. But yeah, he'll still say it in a way where it's not certain because that's what they do. They're good at that. That's what happens.
Yeah, I don't know how you can listen to that and say he's definitely having a go at his bosses. What sort of nonsense is that? For me, I don't think so, but you have every right to believe he was having a go at his bosses. Even Roman Abramovich, if you prefer, that's up to you. What else do we have here? Keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes do go a long way. Maresca might play Estevao at camp. He said that too, and Quendo on the flanks, possibly. For now, Pedro Neto isn't on the hit list. I speak the truth. So, which should we believe? You said he was on the hit list before. Now you've changed it. I will put a tweet out back in the coach. Okay, go ahead. Just you can tag me, and if I like it, I will retweet it. The hit list is here. Sorry, guys, that's the truth. We must keep Pedro Neto. I've always told you that I don't think the club will be looking to sell him, and now you have the hit list at your disposal. Now you know he's not part of it. So you're the one that's, you could say, putting out the theory. You're the one quenching the theory yourself, for lack of a more accurate term there. Coach, if you don't make, my goodness, I will stop doing that. Um, I don't say anything. Nobody says you're saying anything for PR, please. Let's talk about what we're talking
it's
about
it's
here.
it's
Yeah,
Let
actually
me see if
really
there's anything
funny.
else to read here. Rich Money Makers, I don't have your time. He says, Dante, the SD is your friend. You will not have word against them. Wow. Good recruitment, and you don't need loads of revenue. Okay. Ball is signed experienced players like, oh, okay. All right, I'm gonna scroll to the very bottom and see if there's anything else to address down there. Let's see what else we have. Uh, yeah, that's he's serious distraction right now, and
His ADHD gets out of control sometimes, but that's just my bust.
yeah. Then let's see what else we have here. Gosh, I'm not reading that. He says, Coach, it may be the case because the profile of players thought was a signing when he was in charge. No single baby until the arrival of Claire Lake. You may see it from that perspective. So far, all good. Houston, I refuse to see it from that perspective. I think everything, the change in approach, they all agree to it. If they didn't, I think we'll hear all about it in the press. I think it's just people assuming that they had disagreement with regards how to run the club or so. The you say it's their process, and you've having your. I think we've heard Todd Bowley himself talk about us signing up and coming young talent. He says something like, "Yeah, we're making great progress and we're not changing. That's the way we plan to do it." He did say something to that effect.
He did.
That
He said
doesn't, for me,
that's
that
the
doesn't
plan.
scream them. You could say being indifferent in terms of the approach. Go ahead, Dante. You were saying something.
Yeah, that's basically he said that before all this. So I mean, how that just tells you they were on the same page quite a long time ago. Because he said, they're going to try to sign the best young talent in the world. So that just tells you that he had that mindset as well. When we signed Sterling, that was just one of those quickly. They were in transition when they were signing over.
Starling, Kulubali.
Yeah, they're already in the works.
Guys,
Those players to be signed, they're already in the works to be signed. Those players, so they
yes,
were just continued, and they just continued to sign them. Tuchel said yes, okay, yeah. Their plan was always they were always going to go. If it wasn't the following year, it would be the year after. They were always going to actually do what they did. That was always going to be in the plans. They just started it
guys,
little bit straight away because obviously it didn't work very good. With those players that came in. So they started the process much earlier, but they were always going to do that process in the future. That was always part of the plan. Like I said, they did the same with the Dodgers. So
guys,
this is in their, it's part of their process, what they do with their sporting teams. That's what they do.
guys.
Yeah, Bobby, go ahead.
You know, it amuses me when we have these sort of challenges to the ownership of Chelsea. Look, Chelsea Football Club, if we lest we forget, was purchased in an almighty hurry. You cannot have a group of people, especially a group of billionaires, come together to achieve an objective, which is to rebuild a structure, an institution as big and as successful as Chelsea in their own image without having some hiccups along the way, especially in an ever changing program. They had to hit the ground running. The transfer market and the competitive league was more or less on top of them when the ink hadn't even dried on the signature of the takeover of the club. They themselves were not even sure of purchasing the club until the 11th minute because of the nature of the whole deal. So, of course, they're not going to have all their structures and all their plans in place. All their effort was to make sure that they would get the club in the first place and to put down a skeletal plan to which they could work with. Look, what has been happening at Chelsea, lest we forget, has never happened before. What is happening at Chelsea is a massive operation, a massive undertaking to not only equal what was done before by Abramovich, but supersede it. I think the level of expectation and the level of attack the ownership face for their errors in the beginning of this huge undertaking is grossly disingenuous and very unfair. It's not easy. what they've done in 3 years or so is quite remarkable. And they're very, very much on track to meet their objectives. So I don't know the full content of what was said earlier. I'm just imagining it from experience of what's always been said whenever we talk of the new owners, the purchase, players that was bought before by Todd Bowley, the project now, and so on. I think really and truly, in another 2-3 years' time, we're going to look back to this period of Chelsea's history and be very, very thankful because they're building something very, very solid.
Maybe, yeah, as again, they're being proactive. They realize the path they had taken when they bought the club wasn't sustainable. A lot of clubs are changing. Clubs are changing. Lots of restrictions. Irrespective of how much you have, you're not allowed to spend as you wish. It's really that simple. And I'm glad we're actually ahead of time in terms of the progress we've made. And I think we probably most likely finish the season with one or two trophies. Honestly, I think we can. We're capable of doing that. But that's, by the way, yeah, you said it very well. The club was sold to them in a hurry. A lot of stuff, you can say, could have gone wrong, but I think they've handled it well. It's not perfect, but we're getting there. And I'm patient. I'm not in a hurry. And Tobago's, thank you for triggering that. I do hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the conversation. Yes, people, let's get the likes up. 39 likes. We can do a lot better than that. We'll be rounding off soon. I think we haven't gone news hunting. We'll do that. Round off with news hunting, finish news hunting, and then come back and call it a day. I don't know the games for today. When are they starting? Have they started already?
Yeah.
Oh, games have started?
I think the Palace game has started.
Yeah, I think all the games are together. 4 games are at the same time. The City Palace and the Newcastle and Sunderland game.
Yeah, Newcastle. What?
Right now, they're starting, coach. Yeah.
Okay, there's only one at 10. One in 2 hours. Yeah, 3 games have started. 4 games, yeah, at the same time. One at 10. Yeah, so okay. Let's get the likes up, people. The likes do go along with what else do we have here? Nothing important here. Vic also saying I'm not current. Vic, can you elaborate? Let me see what you're trying to say there. I know probably he believes Maresca was having a go at the at the directors. Right now, I have Dennis Zakaria in this midfield. I don't. Where is he actually? I haven't heard of him in a while. I liked him as a player and thought that Porter could have used him a lot more, but Porter, I don't think he's into using CDMs, but CMs more importantly. And then Zakaria is a new Michi Batshuayi. Really?
I think that Zakaria is the captain of Monaco.
Is he right now?
Yeah, I think.
I
And they
liked
got
him.
Pogba and
Injuries
all.
didn't help his career, but he was a good player, really. At the time, what was it that the German club was the German club he played for? Was it Leipzig?
Italian, I think we brought him from some Italian club.
Was he
Juventus, I
in
think.
Italy before we got him? But he was good at one German club at the time.
Juventus. Yeah, he was at Juventus.
He was at
Yeah.
Juventus before we got him. But before Juventus, he was at a German club where he was brilliant.
Yeah, German as well. I think Werder Bremen or something like that. Can't remember.
By the way, just want to mention, Dante, so sad to hear what's happened in Australia. Condolences with the families of all the victims.
What happened? Sorry.
There's been some attack on a beach, and I think there has been some
Ooh,
casualties.
I didn't hear that. Sorry to hear that, Dante. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that. And Jay, thank you for mentioning it.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it at the moment.
On a beach where? Australia?
I don't know. It happened
Yeah,
late,
Australia
so
at some beach, two guys opened firing
followed
at a beach, and I don't know how many people died. Such a sad sight.
Wow.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just your usual Palestinian versus, that type of thing again, unfortunately.
Okay,
So
political.
versus Jews or something. Yeah, so obviously stupid what happened, but we will find out more tomorrow. I don't know too much about it, to be honest. Only a little bit. I saw it on the news. It was just breaking news, but I haven't seen it. I haven't watched
All
it.
right. All right, but sorry to hear that. Condolences to those who've lost their loved ones in the situation. Yeah, always sad to hear such thing happen. Let's see. Ahead of time with the progress made, I'm watching. Yeah, irrespective of what you want to say there, honestly, I agree. I know you probably didn't expect us to win. The latter part of your comment I don't want to say out because I know that will offend some people. I want to say this. I think we've made progress. I think we're ahead of time, just like the manager said, but I'm not just going by what he said. And that's because a lot of people didn't expect us to win the Club World Cup. A lot of people didn't expect us to win the what's it called? To win the Conference League. A lot of people didn't expect us to finish in the top four. And I think I wouldn't mind betting that you were one of those. Because you've been very skeptical of the project and everything, how everything has been done. I wouldn't fail if I bet that you were one of those. So yeah, we are ahead of time. It'd be correct to say that because a lot of people, fan base, I remember the narrative that it would take 5 years plus before we start winning anything. Some were saying actually we'll be fighting relegation on the Enzo Maresca, given how bad Pochettino did, but Pochettino actually finished the season well. So yeah, we are ahead of time in my opinion. If anything, let's just go by what people believed would be the case compared to where we are today. That I don't know. Let's hear you.
Sorry, coach. I'll just be right back. Just my son. Hold on.
Oh, sorry about that. Jay, let's hear you. Are we ahead of time, or do you think we haven't made any progress? Because Vic doesn't believe we've made progress, actually.
Yeah, obviously it's not always, black and white. There's a gray area, and I think we are kind of witnessing or in that gray area. I think that, as we mentioned earlier, that there has been some good signings and good progress. Winning trophies was a big part that a lot of people were doubting, and I think that was an important step for us to win a few trophies with this new approach and this new young squad. And yeah, I think the future obviously holds a lot of things for Chelsea, and it's how we're going to manage the path to that future and in between, and how we're managing to hold our position. And I think we're doing pretty well. I think the manager is good as well. Obviously, he's learning on the path, and hence some of the mistakes that he makes. Good thing is that he admits and learns very quickly from it. But I think he's a good manager for this young squad, and yeah, hopefully the sporting directors and the ownership backs him more whenever he wants, because he's not that much of a demanding guy, but whenever he does, it proves out to be very, very essential to this team. I want to point out that defender thing. So yeah, overall I'm good. But if I know this is just a wish, it's not going to fulfill because they have their fixed approach, but only if one or two senior players here and there, it can really change the whole trajectory of this process, and we can fast forward it to double or triple times, I think. But anyways, I think still a good good approach, and yeah, there is definitely brighter things for Chelsea in the future, and hopefully we can continue adding a few trophies here and there in this journey.
Yeah, Bobby, let's hear from you your thoughts where we are with the project. Would you say we're ahead of time? Just like is it because ahead of time in terms of the measure of progress we've made, just like Maresca said. I think I agree, but I understand where Jay is coming from. That's some gray areas. It's not been perfect. Mistakes have been made, but I think in recent, you could say, performances show we're making progress. Let's just stick with that. But let's say your thoughts on the project overall, Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, when they were taking over the club in an unprecedented fashion, nobody else has ever purchased a football club in this manner, in this hurry, in this uncertainty, because they were not certain at one point that they would be given the opportunity to buy the club. And when the vetting process was through and they passed and they were certain buyers, they then had a limited time with which to purchase the club. So their blueprints and their planning is quite remarkable. It must have been at least written down to start with, and then they put it together. I mean, they didn't even have their sporting directors in place in the beginning, just to show how somewhat unprepared, and justly so, they were for the transition into the purchase. Now, in the beginning, they tried something. It didn't quite work. It was never really going to be their mainstay, but they just wanted to just wanted to steal a march and put the club together and see if they could continue on the same pathway of success that the Abramovich model had. But that couldn't work for several reasons. One, because of the inexperience of Todd Bowley, who was doing the dealings then for the first time in the football world. And two, with the ever changing landscape of regulation, which meant that no matter how much money you had, you really couldn't spend it as you would like on any player you like. So they had a lot of restrictions put upon them, hence their ingenious move, if you ask me, to go the youth route with the vision to not only purchase the best youth in the world, but open up subsidiary clubs to Chelsea. They've succeeded with Strasbourg at the moment, and they're working on 2 or 3 known others. Now, in summary, to answer your question, where are we in terms of the progress of the project? I think we're on track. I really do. It's hard to say if we're ahead or behind. Well, it's easier to say if you're behind because behind is a yardstick of not being successful. But it's hard to say if you're ahead because it's difficult to determine being ahead when you have the level of quality and talent that we have amongst our youth, the youth players we've recruited. We keep forgetting what has inhibited this club significantly since the takeover of the ownership over the past 3 seasons, particularly last season and the season before, have been injuries to key players. I will not allow us to sidestep that because that has scuppered our season in many ways. And even now, it's caused us problems. You know, losing people like Colwill, the inconsistency of Romeo Lavia. He's not really played since we bought him. And we're, you know, thankfully, we seem to be having a bit of a good time with Wesley Fofana, but every time he steps on the pitch, we're all praying. So, and Reece James. And these are major, major players for us. And we don't have that depth to immediately do without them when they're not there. So, marks out of 10 for what they've done so far, I would give them a solid 8.5. I think they're progressing, and I think we should be hopeful. I know it's hurtful whenever we hit those bumpy roads, which will come with the development that we're in. We get angry, we get upset because we're winners. We want to win. But in the cold light of day, when we get a result like we did yesterday, which calms us all down, we realize that we are a work in progress and the progress is going very well.
And Bobby, while I'm still with you, I think we'll be rounding off in a bit, but I still want us to go news hunting quickly, briefly, and not waste time on it because I want to watch the games too myself. As much as a lot of people would like to say that when Todd Bowley was in charge of the signings, that yeah, he was headed in the right direction. It depends on who you ask. I think it'd be correct to look at it actually say that he was making mistakes. Are you still there, Bobby?
Yes, yes, sorry, I had to unmute. Yes, very much so. But, you know, as I said earlier, his purchasing objectives was always going to be temporary. Why? Because of the changing landscape of regulation. It was
Mm-hmm.
not sustainable with regulation, paying big money for players and putting them on big wages when the revenue stream was still being adjusted, and of course the stadium issue hasn't been looked at. So they very ingeniously went for youth, that they one don't have to pay them large wages. Two, they don't. They had a system of incremental wages. Two, the signing on of these players wasn't astronomical money, although one would argue that the purchase of Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez was astronomical money. But to get the best, sometimes you have to stretch it and pay the best. But relatively speaking, their wages is under control. It's in the wage structure that they have, which fits PSR and FFP, and the new algorithm which has come in to do with uh, uh, the general revenue capability of all clubs in the Premier League, and with the lowest common denominator being the one to which will cap the wages of every club. So they've been very clever in that regard. And added to that, any of the masses of youngsters that they brought in that didn't hit the cream of the crop to be able to play for Chelsea has a sell-on value because of the long contracts with which they put them on. So, relatively speaking, within a 3-year period of time, they've done very well. The start was what it was. They had to do something, and they did. They wasted a lot of money, of course, and hence were lumbered with people like your Sterlings and so on. But if you really look at it, you'll just find in the situation they were in at the time, they had to do that. And they quickly rectified it to bring us to the project we are now. Now, everybody that was criticizing us, abusing the ownership and so on, many of them, vis-a-vis your Jamie Carragher's of this world, are U-turning now because they're beginning to see the sense and the progression of this project. Have we got there? No, we still have a load of kids. But when you look at what people like Malo Gusto have done, the performance and the steadiness Chalobah has given us. Okay, he's a returnee from loan, and he's one of our academy boys, but he's still effective. How we've had some of our youngsters come through, in like Josh Achimpong, who's going to be massive for us going forward and in the future, and Tyree George, who unfortunately it looks like they're going to sell him. But even then, that comes back to the project where if you have a youngster that is in your ranks that you feel won't be first team worthy, as it were, because that is subjective, you can sell them on for pure profit. There's a genius being had here, and it's time we started to appreciate it.
I agree. I agree. And my bro here says, I haven't listened to the defense counsel, Coach Ndante, based on their presentation of argument. I hereby agree that Todd was part of the plan. He probably did otherwise for Tuchel. You gotta love that comment, really. Kachila, I wanted Zakaria at Chelsea for. I wanted him as a very, very much younger player. At the time, I was, you could say, um, I followed Nee from Blue Clouds, no, Blue Lions TV, or how'd you say it again, a lot at the time. And he was one of those that got me to start paying attention to him. And Dante, how good is Carl Eta? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't even recognize that name. Anything else? Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. I'm off. All right. Jay, talk to you later, brother. Let's see what derby. Time Sun derby. Okay. Time where he called it. Coachila, I sent you another message. Okay. I think I've seen it actually, and I've responded.
Yeah, I think that should be Newcastle and Sunderland.
Yeah. Is that time where? Is that what you call it, really?
Teesside. It should be the Teesside derby.
So he's just probably making fun of it. Okay. Please put something. We will. African Cup of Nations and the World Cup. That's where Tebeo comes in. A lot of work. It's not been easy. I love Chelsea Perspective more than this project. This project will come to life, but I need to bring on people. I don't think I can do all of them alone. I don't want to do anything that would lead to this just a perspective suffering. Anything else? Keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes do go along with Dante. Are you ready to come in before we go news something quickly and call it a day?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah,
That's okay.
son
No,
was
sorry there. Your boy should be your priority.
nah, probably just some nightmare or something, just crying, and he was screaming out for me because he's with mum, but he's like, you know, he probably still wanted me. He had a nightmare or something, so he's good. He's back to sleep. Yeah, sorry, where were we? What were we talking about?
The project where we are so far, we're ahead of time. Do you
Uh,
think we're ahead of time? I think we're ahead of time.
yep.
Jay, I think he said something important. We've made good progress, but there are some gray areas. There's some things we could have done differently and
Mhm.
better, and I agree, really. But go ahead.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of what Bobby said just right at the end there. Yeah, definitely. Look, I think they've done a great job in the circumstances, and if you look back at it, how much they had to do and how they did it, I think they did a good job. But they did a very good job, and you know, it will be even better in the future. You know, like we keep saying, they're going to set us up for sustained success, both financially and you know, commercially, financially, and also on the pitch. So because that's what brings money in the end. Being successful on the pitch, that's what brings you a lot of money. So um, I think we're just fine. They did a great job. So yeah, look, I think we're just a little bit ahead. It's hard to say, you know, how much ahead, etc. But I think we are a little bit ahead, and I think that's why you kind of the owners have said that, and then Maresca did forward that as well in one of his press conferences because he was asked about it. What you know, the goals, etc., what the owners have said and what they said to him and how they are. So yeah, him winning the trophies this you know last season, yeah, that was a bonus. The basically that's why they think we're ahead 1 year because there was always for next season. That was when we wish you know to start challenging and winning trophies and start really pushing the project ahead. So yeah, so in that sense, I think we are ahead. We are a little bit ahead. So yeah, just a little bit ahead. I think we are, which is good. Like I said, probably 1 year ahead, not 1 year ahead, but probably you know we're probably you know one transfer probably window 6 months ahead of where we're supposed to be. So winning those two trophies have definitely put us even more a little bit more ahead. So I'm happy with the progress. I liked what they did. I've backed it. I'm a fan of it. I think we needed that. And just like Bobby said, you know, the financial side of things, you need. That's how you know, we all love Roman Abramovich, but we know how Roman did it and a lot of the illegal ways he did it. He couldn't do that in today's football. He would not be able to do that. He would have to change quite a lot as well, have people in, because he would not be able to do what he did back then. It's just not possible in today's game. So, yeah, you got to give him a lot of credit. And I think, yeah, for our future, I think they're setting us up very well for our future.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know. I think there's nothing much here. This is about Malo Gusto's performance yesterday. He was excellent. 1 goal, 1 assist, 5 defensive contributions, 4 clearances, 2 duels, 1, 2 key passes, 1 big chance created, 4 long balls, 81 touches, 62 passes, 2/2 shots on target. He was honestly he was brilliant in the day, in my opinion. Anything that's nothing important here. I think this is just a highlight from an old game. Anything else? One Chelsea insider played down Maresca's post-match comment on Saturday evening by describing them as an emotional reaction to an emotional win. It's the fact that again an insider played it down. It's yeah, the comments for me, I don't. I think people are overthinking by saying he's having a go at the directors, which I don't think is the case anyway. But people are entitled to their respective opinions, and they're actually twisting it. If you hear it from some people without actually seeing the comment itself or listening to it, you say, that, I don't know how he makes sense to say he was having a go at his directors. But I see my sister here. Hi to you too, Mel. I do hope you're doing well. I appreciate you for finding the time to say hello. He says, no, La Copama is back to save Chelsea. Typical Arsenal fan. Well, much love to you, Mel. I appreciate you stopping by to say hello. I did see that you were online yesterday, but something was a distract. I wanted to stop by and say hello to you. We got a plan on our next collaboration maybe next year, 2026. I think I can your home game against us. I think we should have you on the panel here, or maybe do a match preview show. And people, please go and subscribe to Miss Malina's YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe. She covers all EPL clubs and beyond, and she knows her stuff. So please go check it out. Be sure to subscribe. She should have like 30,000 subscribers right now. Look at
Big up,
that.
Miss
She's
Melina.
trying to pull my leg.
Yeah.
And Mikel Arteta is the best in the world, right?
Yeah, out coached Arteta with 10 men. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But much love to you, Miss Melina. I appreciate you stopping by to say hello. Let's say I don't think that some people realize that Lavia is one of our most progressive passers. He is, but he has to stay fit before I appreciate that aspect of his game, honestly. But I'm hopeful, given his age. I think eventually we'll find a way to keep him fit. Let's see what Miss Melina says here again. How do you feel about I feel good. I'm not one of the Maresca out boys. I think he's a good manager. He's not been perfect, but he knows what he's doing. And I think he's proven that. He somehow always finds a way to play to and sabotage the game. I'm not going to listen to you lecturing me on how to support my club, Miss Melina, but much love to you. Anybody else with anything else before we call it a day?
No, that's pretty good. I think we've covered a lot. Nearly 4 hours. Wow.
Yeah. Excellent conversation too. And I hope to see.
We've got
I
the
think we're going to
Cardiff
see
game to
Hato
come.
soon. How to restart. You can call it that in a cup game. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say we've got the Cardiff game to come, which I fully expect and hope he rotates, and those that are rotated go and do the business.
Yeah, I think
Well done, West.
Show us
absolutely
that they deserve a starting
Surprisingly,
place with
West
the
Ham's
main team.
winning over Aston Villa. That'll be a good result if they
good
get
result
points
for
up.
us, right?
Well,
Is
if
it
they
still
continue
1-0?
doing that. But
Yeah, I
it's
can't
2-1
trust West
already.
Ham. Can't trust West
Oh,
Ham.
they've scored 3 goals, 2 more goals since I looked at the results.
Yeah, it's 2-1 West Ham.
It was just 1-0 before. You know, Aston Villa, they are very potent in the attack.
Yeah, they are, but they're also a bit inconsistent when they have to play in Europe. Have to play as well, so hopefully they lose some points. Yeah,
I think, I hope they drop points there. So 24 minutes and okay. Aston Villa equalized. Oh, the 3 goals were scored by West Ham players.
yeah.
1 own goal. So bad day. It looks like I want Nuno, with the Portuguese man. He's not known to throw away leads because
A bit like
he knows how
Arsenal's
to beat.
beating the Wolves. They pretty much all own goals, pretty much.
Yeah, so they scored and scored for the other team. Wow. So again, anything else? If not, let's call. I'm gonna call it a day. I need to go watch the games too. Honestly, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. I haven't said this word a lot these days. Do I even know how to say it? Alhamdulillah. I have to practice it again. Zaria boy can now say Alhamdulillah. That's a shame. But that's by the way. I don't think there's anything else we need to talk about here. I think we've covered pretty much everything. This is Cole Palmer speaking about the team form. Danny Murphy on Maresca was 48 hours comment. I think a lot of people will interpret it their way. He says football is ruthless. I think he knows. These are multi-billionaire owners. That probably he's seeing it as him having a go at the owners. If they feel their manager is talking directly to them through the press, it's not going to end well for him. I don't think that's the case. There's no world he'd be speaking to them like that. I don't think that's the case. And I'm still going to keep repeating that. It's just people
Who was
interpret
saying
it.
that? Danny Murphy.
Danny Murphy is the one
That
saying this.
really, coach.
Yeah.
You know, these are the Chelsea anti-Chelsea propagandists. So I wouldn't take anything coming out of the mouth of Danny Murphy.
Yeah. So I don't believe him. So I want to say thank you to Bobby for finding the time to join me on the panel, and my bro Constantine Dunn. Big up to you, Mabasta05, Miss Melina. Thank you for joining the conversation. Who else was here? We had Vic. Vic was here. Who else was here? Shanks was also here. And if I missed your name, apologies. I'm only human. See you guys next time. God bless us all, and cheers.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Chelsea fans, we won't stop believing. No knock. With every chant and roar, we rise for the fight. The blue flag in the air, let it fly with pride. We're gonna show the world that all hearts open wide. From stands of grace, share our voices to the light. We love for the team stand strong by our side.
Every challenge, we will never ignore. In unity we trust, our hopes on the rise. Chelsea spirit shines, bright lights up the skies. And if a cowboy said, for Europe does, and then with a love this storm, every phone says to them, and there was a strife. How you, my heart, keep the blue flame inside like we soar. Through every challenge, we will never ignore. In unity we trust, our hopes on the rise.